Okay, on to this week's Street Talk then, and we're going to start off with some lovely clickbait headlines. Thank you to all the journalists across the land who have been making us curious by writing some unusual headers to their articles this week. But what could they be about? Gemma, Leicester Mercury, we're going to start you off with. Coronation Street Ronnie's new love interest revealed after Debbie... and she will be livid.
That's a badly constructed sentence.
Sorry, I didn't make it. I only report it. Who is Ronnie's new love interest?
It's the baby.
No.
He loves the baby.
He loves the baby so much. No.
Who does he like? Really?
Well, nobody.
No.
I barely know that he likes Debbie, to be honest. Pick a name.
Aggie.
No, not Aggie.
Okay, Jenny.
No. One more guess. A favourite character of ours from this week.
Glenda.
No. Christina. Christina apparently
She'd
is going
eat him
to be...
alive.
Oh, I'd like to see that. I think they might make a quite good couple, actually. I'm kind of sad.
He does like strong women, obviously.
Clearly. I'm kind of sad that Debbie and Ronnie are broken up, but kind of not really. It's definitely temporary, but I don't really feel that Corrie's given us enough reason to really invest in them as a couple so far,
They got engaged, Michael.
I know they got engaged, but we've not seen anything of them.
They're going to get married by the end of the year, that's my prediction.
It wouldn't surprise me. I think that they're going to be getting back together within the next few weeks.
I want to see Debbie. Oh my God, Debbie's wedding dress.
Oh, what do you think?
This is the sort of thing that would keep you up at night if you were surely in the wardrobe department, you've got to get the most incredible dress or outfit or... Would she wear a dress or would she wear a really nice trouser suit?
I think that she would. When I'm still thinking...
which one?
No, the dress. Do you remember when... Who was it?
Does she wear dresses and skirts?
Not really. She is a power suit dresser, isn't she? She's always at work. I don't know what she wears when she's in her casuals. What's her civvies?
Executive bridal dresses.
Do you remember when Abby was getting married and she was having that wedding dress trying on party at the bistro? Debbie put a dress on for that, I think. I think she did.
I don't think she's a white girl, is she? I think she'd be a red or a yellow or...
I don't know, but I do hope that we get to find out. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay, next one then, Gemma. Plymouth Live. Coronation Street's Theo Star confirms secret connection to Vera and Jack Duckworth.
Is it that he used to like watching them on Coronation Street?
No, but it's almost... I suppose it's a bit better than that.
His nan's favourite characters.
No, although that is, again, something that is very unnewsworthy that still would make an article in Plymouth Live.
He saw them once.
No. He auditioned, this is quite interesting actually, to play Tommy Duckworth. Yeah, when Chris Fountain.
Interesting.
He could have had him there on the street.
What future would we have had?
Who knows? Him and Tina could have been together forever.
We don't know, do we?
He could have protected her from Rob Donovan. The Star, Gemma. Helen Flanagan's Coronation Street future confirmed after she asked for job back.
I know. I think
so surely that's good news, isn't it? That's insinuating that we're going to be seeing Rosie Webster soon on the street. What do you think?
I know that we're not.
So this confirmation of her future, Gemma, is...
Well, they just said she's not coming back.
Yeah.
Or did she say they said, I'm not coming back?
She was on, I think it might have been Loose Women possibly last week. But, I thought I'd kept the quote, but I didn't. Basically, she was on there and she said she was... Or was it she said it, or was it an insider? I don't remember. It might have been an insider that has said she had talks with Corrie boss Kate Brooks.
Was it Corrie boss Kate Brooks, or was she just
McLeod.
Corrie bosses?
I don't know. I think this is a recent thing. Because she didn't always want to come back, did she, for a while? Because she was happy being a footballer's wife.
But now she's not, is she?
She is not going out with Scott anymore, no.
So,
anyway, so the insiders said that it was decided that Rosie shouldn't come back because her exit wouldn't really play into any current storylines on the show.
That was the most hilarious thing I've ever heard in my life. That is the most patently untrue thing I can possibly imagine anyone saying.
I know, right? The year of the Websters having a return of Rosie and Sophie wouldn't really fit in. Come on, you must be seriously
kidding. You can't expect us to take that. That sounds like a dig for how blatantly untrue that is.
I know.
Because everybody in the Webster family is having a crisis.
Yeah.
It's the perfect time to bring
Maybe
her back.
there's too much drama and just throwing Rosie into the mix would just make it explode.
Well, she could bring drugs back, couldn't she? She's good at bringing drugs in. And sick people need drugs.
She has been a drugs mule before, yeah, that's very, very true. Okay, last one then. Thank you, by the way, to Jonathan who sent us all of these again. From the Mirror. Coronation Street fans rumble identity of Lauren's secret sister, and she's on the cobbles.
Oh, she was getting texts, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, Lauren was getting texts this week.
Did we find out who that was?
No, it's still a mystery.
But I'm so excited about finding it out that I didn't even remember if we knew or not now.
Who's the secret sister
somebody boring and tedious.
I'm not going to confirm or deny that.
True.
Yes, it is definitely a not
true. Is
it
somebody who's just a blonde girl? Is it Betsy?
Yes.
What the hell are they?
Not very interesting.
So is it like, it's Becky's... No, what's the other? Well,
it's because we don't know who Betsy's biological father was, and we've now got the idea that we don't know who Lauren's biological father is. So maybe they had the same father back in the day. Could have happened. Thank you to Jonathan for sending those, and
Thank you
to all of the rags for publishing them. Sorry, you're wonderful.
Why can't we have? I want clickbait.
Well, we had clickbait this week.
Oh yeah.
We had clickbait.
Oh yeah.
Thelma Barlow says why she could never come back to the cobbles. I was very thrilled to have clickbait title written about my own works. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
I know. Literally, she just said, of course she's not going to come back to the show.
No,
She's
we
95.
knew that they would. We knew that somebody was going to find something. We knew that because they do it every time.
They do, but
nobody's going to click on like charming interview with benevolent old.
To be fair,
Corrie star.
I'm happy for Thelma and for Judy because it got more articles about it. More people read about it.
People are going to click on it and go, "Oh, what's this drama?"
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was good for the film, and honestly, what the vast majority of the article was talking about all the positive things that she said about.
You should have left in all that stuff she was going on about loving fox hunting and stuff. That's a joke,
right?
I was trying to think of what I could say that's not that offensive,
not that inflammatory.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Right, so we have got 5 stories to talk about this week. 5, or maybe I've missed some off the top here, I don't know. We're going to see, starting off with, of course, the Jenny Connors storyline, or Gemma, End of Days. End of... Oh, yeah, I got it. That was alright, wasn't it? End of Days. Daisy has left us. Tragic times. We've then got the dementia story and a little bit of the DD baby stories in there as well. I've kind of put them all together because Ronnie is the linchpin around which both those stories circle.
Who'd have thought that you would ever say that about Ronnie?
I know. Well, I'll tell you what, I surprised you earlier by saying...
Jumping out at me?
No, by saying that Coripedia updated its appearance count list this year, and I don't usually like to look at it because I don't want to surprise the game at the end of the year that we play, but somebody had posted about it on Twitter. I think it was just Random Thoughts. Yeah, Debbie, the most commonly appearing character on Coronation Street, most featured character on Coronation Street in 2025.
News.
That is excellent news. I'm not completely surprised. I think we probably went into the year thinking that this would happen, knowing that this big story was coming up for her. But good for her, considering that she's been lingering down the bottom. Bloody love her. She's excellent. And good for her. Bolt-on messages is next. That's Lauren Bolton getting her text messages. Do you get it? Bolt-on messages.
Yeah.
Do they still do those? Is that still a thing
when
you get a phone?
What do you mean bolt-on messages?
It's when you get a mobile phone, yeah?
No, I've not heard of this device.
And you get your bolt-ons.
Where you're like, oh, would you like to pay us an extra £5 a month for something that should really be free?
Yeah.
And you go, yeah, of course I would.
Bolt-on messages. It's not the best. But there was also a bit of Daisy, Betsy and a magical hand as well, wasn't there, this week?
I remember when somebody from work, like about 10 years ago, he couldn't text me sometimes because he didn't have enough messages left. And I was like...
What is this, the Dark Ages?
Why are we living like this?
Well, they used, penny a minute, didn't it? Used to be. We are moving then on to the Carpe Diem storyline. Poor old lovely Julie, and we got a Gary story. Oh, I did come up with a storyline title for this as well. Mickey and the Bricky.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
You haven't worn your Gary outfit.
I was going to wear my Gary outfit on Wednesday this week because of his great return to the cobbles, but
it's too hot.
It is too hot to wear Gary's jumper today, yeah, but...
It's that time of the year again when I look in astonishment at all of my cardigans and I'm like, how was this ever possible to wear these things? I can't understand. You keep putting a hot blanket on as well.
I do. I might not put the hot blanket on tonight. I do love a good snuggle.
I've realised that you literally have melted the mattress protector on our bed.
I like it hot in bed, Gemma. What can I say? I literally can't. I can't go to a cold bed. It's just so toasty and cozy.
I like to go into bed and it's all nice and cool, and then you warm it up, and I like the cold side of the pillow.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, chalk and cheese, eh?
You can end marriages, can't you?
I don't think that's even possible. No. Right. May I do the end of Daisy storyline? Because I'm just so sad. I'm gutted that Daisy. I mean, how are you feeling? I know seem to be sadder than you. I'm genuinely utterly bereft that she's gone.
I mean, we knew this was happening.
Yes.
I don't think there's ever an exit now where you don't know it's happening, apart from minor characters be like, oh, is that it?
Yeah, I mean, you've got even Mason earlier this year. I don't think it had been confirmed that he was leaving, was it? But
no, you're right. That's often, the one that hasn't. Yeah, that was surprising, but
people thought that it was going to happen still. I think there'd been murmurings that he was on his way out, but anyway. with the big characters, so we knew she was coming. Going, yes.
You don't know if people are coming or going,
coming to Bali, that's where we're live recording from this week. That's why
it's too hot.
Yeah.
We're doing the new series of White Lotus. We knew this was coming, and everyone knows, I really rate Charlotte Jordan. I think she's a great star. I think Coronation Street is going to be not as good without her. I think that she and Jenny were fabulous together behind the bar. So I'm really sad from that perspective. I'm sad about what happened between her and Jenny. But the thing about me is that if I get annoyed about somebody leaving, I'll normally get in a huff. And then when they go, I'm like, well, fine then. So bye.
You're the ultimate grudge bearer, aren't you?
Well, it's not really a grudge. It's more like I severed my emotional ties already.
Mm.
So
how you protect yourself?
I protect my prickly soul. So, and it's not the same thing as when a villain leaves, because a villain's got a shelf life, that's the thing.
Mm.
But all the other people, I'm like, I want you to be in the show. If I like you as a character, I want you to be in the show forever.
She's been such an asset to the show, hasn't she? She's such a talent, and
Jenny.
Yeah, her and Jenny have been a proper power couple behind that bar. And I am a bit gutted that they left on bad terms.
That's what's kind of bothering me a bit.
That niggles me somewhat.
Because what made Daisy such a brilliant character was her and Jenny and the reactions they had.
One of the things.
And so, yeah, one of the things. And so for the past, it's probably been a year and a half. There's been this weird energy of them not really getting on, and it's one of those things where Corrie likes to mess with the formulas of things that are good sometimes, because they think, I don't know why they do it though. They do this all the time when some people really drive. They're like, well, how can we upset this balance? How can we kind of capitalize on this for extra drama? And I guess it's the Kevin and Sally syndrome of who's the strongest. Who's got the strongest bond? How can I destroy it for rating?
Send in Natalie Horrocks.
But you shouldn't be doing that. You should be using these characters as a team, because that's why I didn't like the
fallout.
The fallout, and I know that there's arguments for doing it. The same thing about giving Debbie dementia. Everyone's like, oh, why would you pick Debbie? She's my favourite. It's that's why they've done it. And everybody's going, oh, but this is brilliant. She's fantastic. I love, she's so good in this storyline. I hate the storyline, but she's so good in it. That, to me, is their justification for doing it. And I definitely feel that was the correct move now because of how people are reacting. But this turning Jenny and Daisy against each other, I can't say that it's paid off. What do you think?
I think this week has been a lot of stories that I'm enjoying in the moment, despite knowing the horrible wall that it's eventually going to crash into and it's going to upset me, like the Debbie one that you mentioned.
Bring on the wall!
And obviously Julie as well, who I'm still adoring in every scene that she's in.
Yeah.
But I know that one of the things that's making me adore her is the bittersweetness of it, especially the lovely scenes with her and Brian. I still think, if they hadn't done this, if they hadn't given Julie this horrible disease and a shelf life, the story could still have been as effective in other ways. But yeah, it's tugging on my heartstrings a bit, and I still am enjoying it despite the end point. But I was wondering whether Jenny and Daisy would make a truce, and they kind of did a little bit, didn't they? But then it was the rug was pulled out from under us towards the end.
I don't know what I feel. I still don't really know how I feel about.
Do you know what?
You loved it.
I loved it. I surprised myself by loving it. I was very ready. If Jenny and Daisy were going to go on a sour note, which they did at the end, I was utterly ready to hate it. But actually, the way it played out was a really, really great watch. I felt. The moment of realisation on Jenny's face, well, I suppose it was Christina who put two and two together in the end, that Daisy had double-crossed them, taken all the money for herself, and that I think, brilliant montage towards the end, well, in the ending scene. It was a musical montage, and I loved it. You know, Julie getting the money, Daniel getting his decks, and even Jenny just crying her heart out because she's now broke again, still owes Carla all this money, very likely to lose the pub. This is what I'm talking about as well. You know, I loved it, despite the fact that it puts Jenny in a serious hole that I don't know how she's going to get out of.
She'll probably just find some more money.
I don't know. It feels like, you know, the Rovers is on the market. Is Jenny's time there limited? Quite possibly, but I still loved it, and I think one of the things that I enjoyed about it was how it played into the fact that Daisy can be a mega bitch. And today she was. She was a triumphant mega bitch, wasn't she?
Triumphant. That's the name of my band.
Just throwing Jenny's everything back at her. But then I'm thinking, Jenny kind of deserved it. Jenny's been underhand. She went weeks keeping under her hat that she'd got this money and that she was going to buy the pub. Because she wasn't liking sharing the top, sharing the crown with Daisy, as it were. And
it's just so sad.
And I didn't like that. I didn't. But so and even though I adore Jenny, I do think that she needed taking down a peg or two, and this has done it. And Sally Ann Matthews was brilliant in that scene at the end when she was sobbing over a letter where everyone else got a gift, didn't they? You know, Daniel with his
Jenny paid for
Bertie
it.
and Daisy, getting the trip to Disneyland Paris, like you said. What does Jenny get? Just a little letter.
Kicking the
nuts.
It
better have been a decent stock of paper. That's all I can say. And then that final scene where she's there in the car, put her shades on. She looks so brilliant. Well, that was so cool.
It is fascinating because it changes completely the context of like her final talk with Daniel, where she's convincing him that it wouldn't work out because he's got too many ties to Weatherfield. Like, is that why she's decided to move to Bali, or is she just petting him off?
I don't know.
Because he thought that they were going to Brighton.
Yeah.
She was never going to go to Brighton. She's been planning this move. I assume
possibly.
There's no extradition.
We'll never know.
Well, should we talk about actually how
maybe when we get there we will. But she came in as a cow.
Yeah, she did.
And she's left as a cow, and I think I prefer that. You know, there was the bit that was halfway through the episode where she came out of the Rovers with Jenny. Jenny was having a cry. She gets into the taxi with Tim, says, "Bye then." And I was like, oh, is that it? You get a midway through the episode back at the taxi exit. What a letdown. But actually, it was really cool. And it did put me in mind of Becky McDonald when she got on that plane and was like, regrets, them's for those people on the ground, so we're going for the stars. I see that Daisy didn't get quite such a good line.
What was her final line?
Turn it up.
Oh,
I quite liked it. Could have done with a little bit more maybe, but it was just brilliant. It was so triumphant.
What do you think of the song?
I didn't mind. I don't know what it was.
Moving on up.
Was it?
Well, not people.
Was it a bit of Heather Small? Was it? I don't know.
No, it wasn't. It was the moving on up, wasn't it?
I really don't. I don't know music. What do you think I am? Shazam. Absolutely superb. But I'm really sad for Jenny about where it's going to go. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. Let's have a flashback as Corrie wants to do, and have a look at what happened this week.
Here's my my ask of Coronation Street. Please, can you upload a version of the Daisy's exit scenes that has no sound in the background, no music in the background, so we can add our own?
Well, they might do, because that scene where Rufus drowns, where Stephen drowned Rufus,
didn't they put other music, or did they just not?
No, they left it blank.
Because I think there's so many cool songs that you could. That song's a fine song, but I just didn't. It didn't.
Any suggestions?
Like maybe like Prodigy Firestarter would have been a good one.
Turn it up. Not just Daisy, Daisy.
Oh God.
No, that wouldn't work, would it? Right. So, well, you really liked
Shout.
Wednesday's episode this week, didn't you? The one with Christina and the bingo bango bongo.
Oh, she is just magnificent.
She is wonderful, that woman. And we were watching it. I thought that Wednesdays was okay. I know this is, everybody's saying that Wednesday was one of the best episodes in ages, and you said that as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
I watched it thinking, yeah, this is good. Christina's on top form here, but you absolutely adored it.
Ian Kershaw wrote that episode.
He did.
I messaged him on Instagram. I know a lot of people do not know which one of us is messaging when we. It's mostly Michael. I'm just going to tell you. It
is mostly me sending the messages, but you messaged Ian Kershaw this week, didn't you? You said you enjoyed it. Yeah, so I enjoyed them both. I think I finished Friday's episode feeling more satisfied than you did Wednesday, so that's fine. We even each other out. So Monday's episode. Let's
just not bother because we've just explained it.
Monday. How did they get there? So Daniel comes to see Daisy in the back of the pub. Christina's burner phone is there, and she nearly gets caught out at the beginning of the week, doesn't she? Because it's buzzing away on the table, which Daisy has to get Christina to hide when she comes merrily walking in, tapping away on her other phone. And she's just brilliant. The expressions that this lady pulls. Like, oh my God.
I said, and nobody agreed with me, on Twitter, that there's a special voice that Christina puts on for Jenny that she sounds to me like she's Big Suze off Peep Show, and nobody gets the reference, and if they do, they don't agree with me. You. But she definitely puts on this special voice, and it's like she speaks from the front of her teeth. When she's trying to suck up to Jenny, she does sound like Big Suze.
Is it sucking up to Jenny, or is it talking down to Jenny? I think it's
she's like, oh, you're so great, you should definitely invest. I want to invest if I can.
I haven't watched Peep Show as many times as you, but I'll agree with you if nobody else does. Anyway, Daisy is still suspicious of Christina. She's not really into this plan quite as much as her mum is. Of course, Daisy doesn't realise that Christina's planning to double cross her as well. I did enjoy just how much double crossery there was in this. This is like prime soap subterfuge, wasn't it? It was like very fun.
A heist movie, but set in Coronation Street.
Yes. Christina is asked by Daisy, look, is there anything going on between you and Dom? And she's like, no, honestly, it's fine. So we get our monthly Rita scene next. She's talking with Jenny in the... She makes... she's on screen for 20 seconds this week, and she completely throws Jenny under a bus, doesn't she, by saying, oh, your windfall, eh? Oh, what about that? And Daisy's there as well. And...
Oops.
Daisy's known about this for weeks now, hasn't she? But she can't pretend that she hasn't heard it, so she has to act like she's only just heard this news, and she's like, what, you got a win for, how dare you? And Jenny's fallen over herself to apologise to her and explain everything that's happened.
Rita knew exactly what she was doing.
She's a twisted fire starter. That should be Rita's exit music, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
She I can imagine like Rita walking away from an exploded car with like a Thug Life glasses.
Yep.
And that's how she leaves to go to Cartmel to luau the rest of her days with Maeve. So, make it happen, Corin.
Mavis would not know what hit her, probably.
No, I tell you what, if Rita gets a music montage in her final scenes, I want her providing the vocals for it. Gotta be.
She wouldn't have it any other way.
She wouldn't have it for any other way, would she? No, you're right. So Jenny's saying, look, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't tell you about the money that I took from Greg's account. Just didn't know how you'd react. And Daisy's like, well, it's my own fault. I should never have trusted you. So it is all out now. And things just get a bit worse from there. Christina gets back again later, and Daisy has to update her about Jenny coming clean and apologising. And she's like, oh, she did seem quite sincere about it. Jenny's been having doubts about how far this plan has been going. Like, she was sad last week, or she was angry, I suppose, last week that Dom and Christina had potentially been getting together, and that Jenny was going to get hurt. And Christina obviously is still plotting to take away all the money. I was like, oh, no. Look, where was all that sincerity weeks ago from Jenny? Sorry, we need to carry on with our plot. We're going to see this through.
So here's my question. So Dom and Christina were going to steal the money from Jenny and also Daisy.
Yes.
Daisy thought... but did Daisy Did she have an inkling that this was what Christina was going to do?
No.
But when did Daisy decide to steal the money herself, and how was it a last minute thing?
I kind of like that it's a mystery.
Because there's no way the only reason that she was able to take the money the way she did it in Friday's episode was that she asked Dom to give it to her to look after it, because he was going, might get questioned for this fraud. So that she couldn't have known that the circumstances would have been as they were. So that couldn't have been her plan. She just kind of improvised. But what had been, I guess, I want to know how long she'd been planning this, because it's kind of hilarious to imagine that she'd planned it all along, because she always wanted to leave.
Yeah, but she's been saying for weeks that she wants to get out of here.
All the time Christina's been, jollying her along, and we've been watching Christina knowing that she was double-crossing Daisy, but we didn't realise that Daisy knew or didn't care because she was going to double-cross Christina.
I don't think she's known all this time. I would say it was a bit of a last-minute thing, particularly if she...
Do you think she was going to go to
suspicions
Brighton
from this week?
until she realised that here's my chance?
Yeah, I'd like to think so, but like I said, I think it's better if it's a mystery. We'll never know unless Daisy comes back, I suppose.
Here's another question: if you stole £60,000 from somebody, where would you go?
I don't know. What's
What
the
country
what's
don't
the appeal of Bali? Because that's where Kate Connor ended up, isn't it? And Sophie, went to Bali. I've got no hankering for that. I don't think I've got a tropical destination I'd like to jet away to. That's not my kind of... Gemma, obviously it would be too hot for you.
You'd know where I was, because they'd, whoever would it be, Interpol be like investigating, where did she go? Would she go to like a tropical island? And they'd be like, oh, we're investigating a woman. Oh, what? The white woman who's turned bright red, who lives on the beach and won't stop bitching about how hot it was, who turned up with a suitcase of money. Yeah, she's over there.
Yeah, that'd be your biggest.
And then I'd come running out going, help me, please, it's too hot. Please take me back. Can you put me in a really cold prison cell, please? I want the coldest one you can find.
Right, look, back to the show.
You can go to North Korea, Afghanistan, Algeria.
What have you Googled?
Countries with no extradition treaty with the UK.
Oh, there we go.
North Korea, Afghanistan, Algeria, Croatia, Finland, France, Germany. Oh, they seem quite civilised.
Oh, okay, there we go. You got
okay there then.
So Daniel at this point comes into the room and catches Christina with her two phones, and he's like, "What's going on? Last time, Daisy, you had two telephones was when you were catfishing someone." And Daisy, whoops, yeah, the jig's up really. Daisy has to explain to Daniel what's going on. I'm really glad that we got some quality Daniel and Daisy scenes this week.
Well, what's Daniel going to say? Is Daniel going to find out what Daisy actually did do?
What do you mean?
Well, because...
The fact that she
stole again. She was planning to steal, then he told her off, and she's like, oh, I'll go to Brighton then. And then he was like, please let me go. And she's like, no. And then she gave him a trip to Disneyland.
He must know that this is ill-gotten gains here.
Yeah, they're going to work out she's not in bloody Brighton.
This will be a test of his morals, won't it? Like I don't agree with you stealing all this money from Jenny, but if I get a trip to see Mickey Mouse out of it, then well, go on then.
Daniel does not strike me as a Disney guy.
No, but unfortunately they don't have any theme parks based around poets, do they? Let's take him to Keats World or
Charles Dickens
Byron Land.
And when she was talking to Ryan and going, oh, you can visit me, there's a really great nightclub scene in Brighton. She's lying then as well. Why lie to Ryan?
Oh no, it was lovely.
It was really interesting how, and you're right, she came in like a scammy cow and she went out like one, which I'm kind of proud of her about, having absolutely no character growth whatsoever. Good job.
And the thing with Daisy,
I'm not even joking. I know that sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not.
But she's not shallow, is she? She's a really deep character. No, I know. But that, saying that she's once a scammer, always a scammer, or she hasn't had any character growth. She has, but it's almost like, but deep down, she's still a bit of a bitch, and I like that.
And I
didn't think I would, because I've been told off before by saying, oh, the characters that I like should only do good things, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't like my favourite characters being a bit underhand, but this was this was it, and it just seemed so fitting for her.
I also really like the way that she's obviously learned from these two women who also are scammers, because Jenny has been a bit like that her whole life on Corrie, trying to get money, trying to double cross people, or being a bit unhinged. And Christina's the same. So Daisy really had no chance of coming out as like a normal, balanced.
No, I know, totally. It is. Oh, fabulous stuff. Anyway, so Daisy explains to Daniel what's going on. Daniel says, right, I want to speak to you alone, Daisy.
Oh, shut up,
Christina,
you
as she
lecturing
leaves,
arsehole.
is like, make him understand. She's just so good. Oh, I don't want this to be the end of Christina. I want to see Christina again. Bring her back full time. Somehow. I don't know how. But she's just been so good, hasn't she?
When Christina said make him understand, I think she meant to say, show him your boobs. He won't ask questions.
He's a man. That's all it needs, yeah. Daisy tries to convince Daniel that this is the right thing to do, and she's like, well, Jenny was going to do that. She was planning to scam me. I'm just doing the same as she giving her a taste of her own medicine. And Daniel says, look, I hate this side of you. You need to stop it. And if you don't, then it's off between us.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah. And this was perfect for Daniel. You were like bad mouthing him when we were watching tonight's episode that day. Oh, Daniel, what a condescending arsehole. And I'm like, yes, that's why he's so good.
Yeah, so what? I didn't say he was bad.
Yeah, I love him.
He is such an insufferable oaf.
Yeah.
Well, he's not an oaf.
He's just his father's son.
He really is. But, when Daisy's like saying, oh, we can't be together because you wouldn't come with me, you wouldn't leave Weatherfield. I think probably what she meant was like, I am who I am and I will never stop scamming.
Yeah.
Do you know who she reminds me of a little bit? Of Kate from Lost. That's a bit of a spoiler.
She is a bit Kate from Lost.
Because you find out that she is also a con artist.
Well, it didn't take long to find that out.
Well, I know,
Kate,
but you might just be starting to watch it. And
Sorry.
At the end of it...
There's a lot of things that you don't find out the answer to in
There's
Lost.
a donkey.
What? No, there's not.
Yeah.
You need to watch it again. Out in the bar, Jenny tells Christina and Glenda about Dom asking her to invest. And Christina's like, oh, yes, sounds like a plan, Jenny. You need to get that. I'd snap his hand off it if he asked me. I wouldn't miss a chance to get into bed with Dom. Financially speaking, of course. So Jenny's just so excited about the fact. What does she think? It's like she was going to double her money. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, I could do with turning 60 grand into 120 grand.
Everybody on that show could do with that, couldn't they?
Oh, they do it anyway, though, don't they?
Do you think that how much can we forgive Jenny for being incredibly naive here?
It's difficult because I just... How many opportunities have in your life not you, but in general you missed out on because you were too cautious? Like, I wish I'd bought what is it called? Bitcoin. I should have got Bitcoin years, when people talked about it, but I just don't like risk. I don't even like the idea of buying stocks. I know you're supposed to invest in stocks and things, but I don't even like the idea of that. Yeah,
well, Jenny just thought that this was She should have thought it was too good to be true. She just thought it was a really good, fortunate opportunity that's landed in her lap, and it's because she's desperate, and it wasn't really a risk for her because she thought she trusted Dom, and the alternative was she's losing the pub.
Well, I think
there's
definitely this naive. I would definitely be naive to think that this must happen all the time. This is what shady business people are like. They're always doing stuff like this. You look at like corrupt politicians in certain countries, we won't mention, but
they can't think of any.
They'll something will happen and it will turn out that they've bought a bunch of shares in so and so a business and made millions out of screwing over the voters.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that happens all the time. Why can't I get involved in this? If you can't beat them, join them. Well,
that's the fair face to Jenny then, I suppose you're saying.
I wouldn't even give you £60,000 if you told me you were going to double it in a week.
She has been incredibly naive, uncharacteristically oblivious, I would say, in the last year or so. She's been kind of Yeah, she's been there just to get the gossip about Daisy's love life and to be a bit silly. And I wonder whether this experience will teach her a lesson.
I was going to say, maybe she's going to go into a dark era.
Yeah, dark brooding Jenny.
Evil, scheming Jenny.
I like all the different shades of Jenny, but I wouldn't complain if they just reined in a little bit on her dizziness that we've seen recently.
Well, yeah, I want her to become bitter and evil for a bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw what she was like when she had Liz McDonald as an enemy, didn't we?
Yeah.
Who's she going to be running down this Christmas?
Another thing I would really love is if, for some reason, she ended up having to go 50-50 on the pub with Christina.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? At the end of the week, it seems like there's really, really no hope for Jenny at this point. Carla's already got somebody looking around. Clearly, this person who came isn't going to be buying the Rovers because they didn't have a speaking part in today's episode.
The thing about Coronation Street is that it feels like the only storylines that have got an inevitable, realistic ending are the ones that are based on medical stuff. So there was never any way that Ollie was going to live. There was never any way that Paul was going to live. There's never going to. I don't think Julie's going to live. I don't think they're going to magically find that they were wrong about Debbie. Right. Yeah. Those are the only things you can bet on for sure with Coronation Street when it comes to how a story's going to end, because everything else. This magical money tree that they were mentioning and
making got a shout out on Wednesday's episode.
It's a real thing in Coronation Street. I don't believe for a minute that Coronation Street couldn't just, and they don't. The thing is, I do feel a bit annoyed because it's not even always, or it's rarely a credible solution. It's just they've, even her finding the 60 grand in the first place was kind of like, oh, I found an envelope. What? If next week it's certainly possible that Greg turns up and says, oh, that 60 grand, that was just the first instalment. We've got £50,000 coming next month and another 50 the next month, so don't worry about it. It just they do get out of jail free cards all the time for characters in situations like this. So I'm not worried about Jenny in as far as the story goes. I'm worried about her as far as the production side goes, and do they want to put someone else in the Rovers?
It would be a bold move to do that.
If they've decided to get rid of her, they'll write whatever they want.
Yeah,
of course they will.
I think nobody's. Well, maybe we're just reading the wrong places, but I'm not seeing people saying, "Yeah, I've had enough of Jenny and the Rovers now. Let's move on." Because change of the guard does happen more frequently like this, or has happened more frequently than this. But it doesn't mean that we need to change already.
I want Jenny to have a proper crack at it. I don't feel like she's ever really had a good run of just unbothered landlording, which I know that there's a certain element of rose tinted glasses, but I'm fairly sure that nobody else has had as troubled a run as she has.
She's definitely had lots of downs and few ups. Like I say, if she comes out the other side of this experience stronger and harder, and this is my pub and I am going to damn fight for it, maybe we'll get to see more of a golden age for Jenny. But equally, if she crumbles at this point, which is also perfectly likely, it'd be a bit of a sad ending for her, really.
Yeah, I know, but look what they did to Bet.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's perfectly possible that Rita hatches a golden egg and gives, why not?
Yeah,
she's got loads of money.
But like you said, like you suggested earlier, and there is no way in hell this is going to happen. But boy, it would be great. Christina coming in and somehow them coming to an accord of some type in order to keep the Rovers together.
Them two sniping at each other with Glenda in the middle, the glamour on screen.
They just couldn't do it. They wouldn't be able to resist the urge to have Christina just steal the other half away from her.
I love Christina.
I would. Yeah, I'm always like,
steal my money.
If anyone's going to take over Jenny, I'm going to say Christina at the moment. But alas, she is but a side character, so it wouldn't surprise me if we see little to none of her again. Sad time. Tell you what, she didn't get an envelope at the end, did she, of today's
No.
episode? To dear
Yeah,
Mum.
she was still trying to find out where Daisy had gone, wasn't she?
But she was trying to double cross her. Anyway, back on the show again. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. This is a story that I have strong feelings for, everybody. I hope you don't mind. So Jenny finds Daisy in Victoria Gardens later and says, "Look, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to invest in Dom's company. This is going to save the Rovers. You can work with me. You'll always have a job." And Daisy's like, "Well, thanks, but we were supposed to be partners in this. We were meant to be equals. Honestly, you're power mad, Jenny." Off she goes. She can't... I'm not totally on Daisy's side here. She's been... I get how Jenny wants it for herself, because it was always... Well, it wasn't even hers. It was hers and Johnny's, wasn't it? But it's not ideal for her to be sharing with Daisy, and they don't get on or share well. But she's made her own bed here.
I really just wish that we'd had a bit more of the Daisy and Jenny not getting on with each other. I know we had bits and bobs,
despite moaning,
but it wasn't funny, or I think it could have been hammed up a lot more. Yeah. I'm just saying. But
equally, a lot more of the Jenny and Daisy utter power partnership. I'm going to miss them on their stools at the back of the Rovers.
Who's going to sit in the little stool?
Yeah, who's going to be her number 2 now?
Who's going to be her little Kermit?
Yeah, I don't think Glenda. I think that it needs to be someone svelte and petite sitting on the princess stool there. I think.
What about lovely little Ryan?
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's sad without it. It's going to be sad. Anyway, Daisy goes to Daniel's flat later and says, "I am not going to let Jenny get away with this. How dare she? The sheer gall of this woman." And he says, "Well, look, you have chosen the path of revenge here, Daisy. You never learned." Before long, they're getting into a massive argument about the whole situation, which basically ends in Daniel offering her an ultimatum. Either she puts a stop to us, or it's all over. And Daisy makes a decision there.
Daisy's like, "I'm going to Bali."
It's over. She chooses vengeance over love.
Nice.
And I suppose, it is kind of self-destructive, isn't it? Because I will say, and I will always say, that her and Daniel really, really could work. It could have worked. And it did work for, a year, 2 years? I don't remember how long they were together. And then bloody Ryan gets acid splashed over him, and that's the end of that. But I really, really feel that those two had something special, which is why at the end of today's episode, when she went to see him and they had that kiss and he got the letter, I'm like, yeah, I know that we couldn't save Daisy. Charlotte Jordan's leaving Corrie, but I'm kind of glad how it ended between them. I mean, clearly Bethany's going to be back later this year when Lucy Fallon's off of her maternity leave. And how sure would you be? What's your percentage at this stage that Daniel's going to go crawling back to Bethany?
He's going to be like, "Oh, Bethany, I missed you so much. I've been so faithful to you. No, there's no room on my Disneyland trip."
I can't see any world where he isn't back with Bethany in the end of the year, and it just makes me very sad already.
I hope that
pair her off with Ryan.
Daisy sprung for tickets that are not in term time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, where would it go?
Do they have terms in prison? I don't know. Do they get an Easter holidays?
Bloody hope so. Maybe that's a really good job to be a teacher in then, because you can have holidays whenever you like.
Well, it seems like Daniel has always got one excuse or another not to go into work, hasn't he?
Yes, hello, prison boss. Yeah, I can't come in. I'm going to Disneyland.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. They're not going to learn anything anyway. They're all criminals.
I want to see Daniel going off to Disneyland. I'm not wanting to see him walking down Main Street, USA, and seeing Daisy Duck there and going,
crying. Oh, what a great spin-off DVD that would be. Can you imagine the adventures
Daniel and Daisy Duck?
Yeah. Bertie and Daniel in Disneyland Paris.
Bertie Wooster, Gemma.
Like the worst holiday. I think I'd rather just stay at work.
Gemma was telling me earlier how she really, really doesn't like Bertie Wooster.
So pretentious. It's so middle class. It's such a middle class and obnoxious. It's the sort. I'm sorry to say, it's the sort of thing that I can imagine me doing. Like when I was little, my nickname was Jemima Puddle Duck, which is not actually that far off of Bertie Wooster, is it?
No. Anyway, Wednesday's episode comes around. This was your favourite of the week, wasn't it? It was Christina on peak form. She's still trying to convince Daisy at the beginning of the episode that everything's going to be okay. We're going to be lapping it up on a beach somewhere soon enough.
She does not know how
Little
much
does
Daisy
she know.
has this planned already. Do you think Charlotte Jordan was like, this Bali thing, can we not do some on location stuff to really make it look proper, realistic? Like, wouldn't it be cooler, instead of me looking at my phone and seeing tickets to Bali, wouldn't it be cooler if we cut to me on the beach in Bali drinking a cocktail?
Yeah. Curry. We've got a good budget at ITV, haven't we?
They said they've got loads of money. They don't need a Christmas party.
They don't need to. They can just Photoshop her in anywhere now. They can just AI generate her in Bali.
They could just do an AI generated DVD spin-off of anything.
I hope people enjoyed my AI post on Instagram after Wednesday night's episode when we discovered that Christina has got Jenny down as Ron Weasley in our phone.
That's fantastic.
And I and ChatGPT enjoyed making pictures together, inserting Ron into Jenny scenes from across the years. We had a bit of a battle. It said it kept stopping and saying it was contravening its terms and its content guidance, but we got a good number.
I had a good go at it, didn't I?
Yeah, you were arguing back, saying no, you will put Ron Weasley
like,
in this scene.
It said I can't put him in because it's a real person or it's protected content, and I was like, no, it's not him, it's his twin brother, so it looks exactly like him but it's not the same thing. And then ChatGPT was like, yes, that's a really good workaround, let me have a go. And then I went, no, I can't actually. I've just double checked, and I think you're having me on.
So rude.
This is why AI is going to kill us because we're tricky little buggers.
Yeah. It's going to remember it. It doesn't forget. It's like Gemma. It's got a list.
It's got a grudge list, and we're both on it now.
Ryan comes in to the back room and he's like, Glenda's off sick. She can't run the bingo. It feels like half the time that there's an event going on there that Glenda's supposed to headline. She's sick or she's got a cough or something for some reason. And then somebody else has to take over. And this time, Christina's like, well, I'll do it. I'll She
was so great at this. When she did that, she was so... Oh, what a great set of pipes. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
why were there only like 10 people doing this bingo? I'd be in there.
I know. Literally. It was
a pretty good turnout, really. For Corrie.
For Coronation Street.
For Karen Corrie.
But it always feels like local businesses are very generous
in
what they donate for prizes. Because literally, if you're in that bingo on Wednesday, you had a 1 in 5 chance winning a nice night at a hotel.
Like, I know, Debbie's always donating
for that.
Them a room at the hotel.
Yeah.
She's always doing it.
Yeah.
She's so charitable.
She's probably forgotten. It's a dementia, isn't it?
Mm.
Well, I've never done this before. Anyway, Jenny comes in, says the pub's going on the market today. I'm going to get the money. I'm going to have to get the money sharpish, otherwise people are going to be buying it out from underneath me. And Daisy and Christina give each other some knowing glances there. Dom arrives at the pub later to find Jenny. He's super excited. She says, Dom, I'm going to do it. I'm going to invest 60 grand in your business. How quickly am I going to get the turnaround on this? End of the week, apparently. And she's like, so excited. I haven't seen her this excited since she married Johnny at the hospital, I tell you. Christina and Daisy are watching later as Jenny sees Don out, and Jenny kind of skips into the bar, and Christina chases out the back after him, and he says, right, yeah, plan's underway, Jenny's transferred the money. This is when Daisy is watching. She's snooping about, isn't she? As he and Christina talk about how they're going to get the money. And Christina says, and I won't be giving that daughter of mine a second thought. What a cow.
But I know. Same to you.
I think that if I was in charge of the Rovers Return, one of my first acts would be to put like a plaque or a sign out there saying patrons are kindly advised that any secret plans that are revealed in this establishment or out the back of this establishment have a high likelihood of being overheard by snooping neighbours. Because seriously, how often do people's plans get rumbled because they think that outside the Rovers nobody's there?
It's like a wall of silence.
Yeah, you learn a lesson, Corrie residents, honestly. So Daisy now knows that she's kind of basically been cast adrift and she's on her own, and she is glowering as this bingo starts, and Christina gets up, gets things started.
So do you reckon this is when she decided she was gonna... It's really fascinating that she didn't then go back to Jenny.
Well, it's
she
because
was still mad about the whole baby thing.
No, it was because she found out that Jenny knew about the money. But I think...
Well, there's a lot of things that
there's a lot of... Yeah. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't make more of the Tom thing. I mean, I was thrilled that my long-standing theory that Daisy was potentially around and partly to blame for her little brother's death. But after about, 2 episodes, it felt like that didn't matter anymore. And a lot of what's happened could have happened without that massive revelation.
But it was still nice that it was in there.
It was nice that it was in there.
It's nice that they took the death of a child,
at least
turned it into some drama for an episode.
If Daisy had really wanted to stick the knife into her letter to Jenny, she was like, "Sorry, Jenny, and by the way, I drowned Tom.
Yeah,
it was me.
He's getting too much attention." Oh my god, can you imagine?
Just imagine that.
What about that? Talk about character assassination.
Yeah. So bingo's going. Jenny goes up to Daisy and says, "Look, can we make up? Can we just let bygones be bygones?" And Daisy kind of got no choice really but to go along with it at this stage. Jenny's still sort of walking on, she's still on cloud 9 at the moment. When Abby comes to the bar later to get a drink, Jenny just can't help but brag about how she's made this investment and she's going to double her money by the end of the week. And her nose is put out of joint a little bit when Abby basically laughs in her face at how confident that she's been. Now, I meant to go back and watch this, but did you see somebody... Was it on Twitter or was it on our Facebook group? I can't remember. Apparently, Sally Carman, when she takes the drink says, "Thanks, Sal," or "Cheers, Sal," when she takes the drink. So she calls Jenny by her acting name. And I kind of want to go back and see it now and see if that happened.
I didn't pick up on that.
Slipped through the editing suite.
But maybe she was talking to herself.
But she's also not Sal, she's Abby.
I know, but...
There were no Sals in that scene.
That's what I mean. She was going, "Thanks, Sal," but she was talking to herself. Sally Carman. Not Sally Ann Matthews.
I don't know, but...
I'm just adding another layer.
I want to go and see that, because it's not often... Back in the day, back in early Coronation Street, they left all the flubs in, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because they were all filmed as live, and there's so many times where actors trip over their lines, and they just keep on going, keep on going.
That time that kid got decapitated right in the bar. And they just stepped over the body. That's why you don't have
kids in the Rovers.
That's why. That's actually why we don't allow children in pubs. Yeah, it was all based on that.
Amazing how you make it up. So Christina tells Daisy, somewhat worriedly, comes over and says, "The money's not been cleared. What are we going to do? It's not worked. The plan is stalled." She goes out the back to speak to Dom on the phone and say what's going on here. Our scam has fallen through. Unluckily for her, Julie's hobbling about out there because she's come into the Rovers for this bingo thing. This is her money raising charity event or whatever, and she's the one that hears the plan. And I was kind of wondering for a little bit, although it wouldn't have worked in the timescale of things. I was thinking, is Julie going to find out something and then take the knowledge to her grave or something along those lines? That wouldn't have worked in the timeline. But anyway, Christina heads back inside and Daisy comes out and says, "Look, are you absolutely sure that we're doing the right thing here?" Obviously, Daisy knows that she's being double-crossed, but she's giving her mum one last chance to confess, I suppose, or back down. And Christina says, "Look, don't be so dramatic, love. It's all going to be fine. On with the bingo. Release the balls. There's a bottle of champagne up for grabs." Oh yeah, it wasn't a Chariot Square. It wasn't a Chariot Square.
It was a Chariot Square thing and a car.
No, it wasn't a Chariot Square. It was champagne.
Sorry,
it was champagne in a little mini car. But still, not bad. Worth a punt, I would say. If there's only 4 teams going up against you, one of them got Kirk on.
You don't even like champagne.
It wasn't a quiz, was it? No, I wouldn't really fancy any of those. But anyway, Daisy goes into the back and finds Jenny absolutely frantic because she's realised that the account...
No, she hasn't realised anything. The bank has realised. It's been flagged as a fraud. Yeah, she's been told that the money that she's transferred it to is a scam account. Dom's a con man, Jenny says, and Daisy's like, "Calm down. I'm sure it's going to be fine." I can't remember how it comes out, but basically Daisy drops into conversation the phrase "flame-haired sorceress," which is clearly a term that Dom used in his texts through Christina to Jenny. That Daisy should not know about.
Yeah, so this is Daisy helping Jenny out a little bit, isn't it?
No.
I thought that she did it to... Did you? I thought that she did it on purpose to drop her mum in it because she's realised that her mum.
Well, she says, "Oh, I don't know what you mean. If you're telling me that this was a secret between you and Dom, because I'm sure I heard Christina saying it. I thought she just was deflecting from herself knowing.
I thought that Daisy says at some point in the week, I gave things a little push.
Okay, well,
because she was feeling regretful about everything that she'd done and how she'd been treating Jenny.
Well, if you're
she's realised that her mum is the master villain here.
If you're trying to build a theory about when it was that Daisy realised what was going on, step one of her plan needs to be stopping Christina and Dom getting the money because she doesn't think they're going to give it to her.
Right.
So she's not trying to help Jenny out. She's trying to get control of the money.
Yeah, it could be at this point, couldn't it? Yeah. So Jenny comes through to the bar. We get the triumphant return of the Jenny Bradley death stare aimed squarely at Christina behind the mic. And then Jenny so marches over to her, wrestles the mic from her and announces to everybody that Christina has been trying to con her. Christina and Dom have been working together trying to con her. And she's even, to top it all off, called Kit in to arrest here as well. And Christina under arrest was brilliant. The actress, Amy Robbins, that's it. She's protesting her innocence, but Jenny says, oh yeah, well, I'm going to call Dom's phone. And then it's Christina's phone that starts to ring, and this is when we find out that we get the Ron Weasley name on the contacts list. And Jenny's like, get out, hands Kit the phone as Kit frog marches Christina right out that pub.
And also, can I just give a shout out here to Julie, who was brilliant in this scene
too. Yeah, she was. Because she's filming it, wasn't she?
And then I think Kit's something like, "Oh, we're gonna have to take this down the station." And she's like, "No, I want to see what happens."
That was really nice because
I love that.
I like the
that
scene.
Was proper old school Corrie.
Yeah, it was. Julie is. It's so sad, but she's. Like when she and Eileen were going into the pub tonight to get that free drink by milking how much pain she was in. I'm just loving how she's not letting this horrible diagnosis stop her, and literally she's using it to
scam.
Yeah, well, it's a scam, such a
scam
harsh word, but yeah, she's taking advantage
of a bad situation.
Yeah, when she has an illness
and
that's
she's
taken
like,
her life.
I can only enjoy the time I have. So let me see what the drama is.
And she's got no shame about it. She's got no. Or should I do this or shouldn't I?
Yeah, exactly.
Julie is very much the if this feels fun, just do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love.
No time for regrets.
No, exactly that. But I really, really loved as Christina left. Everybody starts applauding her for being a brilliant bingo caller.
She bows. Oh,
it was so good.
This was just magnificent. You said you didn't think it was that great. This episode. That was one of the best scenes. That there have been some really great Rovers scenes this year. Also, Glenda doing the speed dating. We want that kind of stuff. That just... and it looks so much fun to film. It looks so much fun to write for. And it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah. But yeah, Jenny being there watching as everybody applauds that
and she was like, what? Outraged.
I was surprised that the Rovers didn't go down the police station to protest.
Oh, just to watch.
Yeah.
Julie's like, can I sit in? I'm going to die. Can I listen to the interrogation? I can't wait to be around for the documentary.
Right, so out the back, Jenny asked Daisy if she knew anything about Christina and Dom, and Daisy's like, no, honestly, I didn't. Christina's a massive snake. And Jenny suddenly worries that Christina and Dom might be together romantically, and Daisy's like, no, I'm sure not. And Jenny's like, I don't know. Has Christina been planning on stealing from me all along? How could she do this? Look with me in the eyes, spend all day with me, and just stab me in the back. And Daisy is looking mega guilty here because obviously she was in on this scam as well.
See, this is the kind of thing that is great in a soap and it's so much fun to watch and really brilliant. But if this happened in real life, it would be devastating and it would ruin every relationship you ever had. You would never trust anyone again.
No, and I think that Sally Ann Matthews did a brilliant job at the end of the episode, kind of showing that it's all come down and torn her life apart, and yeah, she's just broken on the table.
Tell you what, this is exactly the sort of story that could get you on the front page of Chit Chat.
totally could. It would, yeah.
My lover was a fake scam.
I bet Christina loves Chit Chat.
Everyone loves Chit Chat.
She should be the editor of Chit Chat. They should make a Devil Wears Prada film, but about Chit Chat and Christina.
Yes, do you know what?
That's the Weatherfield
in the
version.
style of like the Full Monty, because we haven't had a good film, a good British gritty. Everyone's sad because they're working class and northern film for a long time in the UK, have we? But I think Christina, being a glamorous Chit Chat editor, working with sleazy, what's his face?
Oh,
Brent. What's his name?
Yeah, Stefan Brent. Christina and Stefan. Now that would be a couple that I would like to see.
What would happen?
Or what happened to Ray Crosby in the end? Is he still alive?
Is he dead?
I don't remember.
Did Debbie kill him? She might have done when we weren't looking.
They're totally suited to each other. I don't know who on the street could be a match for Christina. I mean, she doesn't need anybody.
She's a force of nature.
But that would be she could be. You know
what?
She's still been in less than 50 episodes, but she's like, I'm gonna say she could be a Kim Tate, couldn't she? And I don't know anything about Kim Tate, except that she is an icon for being
horses.
A badass bitch for many, many years in Emmerdale.
She lives in a mansion.
And Amy Robbins is it Robbins? That's right, isn't it?
She has a big hallway.
Gives us energy. Her
whole front room is a hallway.
Anyway, even the interrogation scene was just superb because she's basically flirting her way through it, isn't she? Saying, "Oh, no wonder my daughter is into you." Ha ha ha. And this is when she gives this line about Daniel being a little fart in a bath, which was, I've never heard this expression before. I don't know whether Ian made this up himself, whether he coined the phrase, or whether it's just a typical Mancunian insult.
Yeah, we don't know. We have to get one of those little handy phrase books.
Yeah, she basically says, "You're so much better than Daniel," and he steers the conversation back to all the conning that's been going on, and she says, yeah, it's my phone, but I didn't send the messages. I don't know who did. And Kit's like,
so great.
She can't talk her way out of this one, but she does somehow.
She does.
He's like, how did you
at the end of this
not notice that these messages were being sent from your phone? Don't.
Just maybe I'm stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of this, who's actually going to get in trouble for any of this?
I don't know. I mean, Jenny, to be fair, should still count her blessings because she and Daisy started this, didn't she?
This has just got to
a year and a half
ridiculous levels now.
Yeah.
Of people stealing in a circle.
Yeah, I kind of want this to be the end of the Stephen Money saga.
Yeah, but the thing is about it won't be. But really, in reality, you know, Daisy's, oh wow, Daisy got away with it. What a cool ending. She wouldn't get away with it, would she? Because she's stolen £60,000.
It's so glamorous.
But there can't be just no consequences.
Yes, there can. If you're out of that show.
But you could never come back to the UK ever again. You just get arrested.
Oh,
I know some people don't want.
I know we don't have a statute of limitations here, do we? But
yes, we do.
In Weatherfield, anything's possible. We don't.
For what?
Anything.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Sorry if you were banking on that one.
I've got to go somewhere. Bali.
You're going to catch up with you in the end.
North Korea.
Right, so Daisy comes to the station and Kit tells her, look, we don't have enough evidence to hold on to Christine.
Are you joking me?
Sorry, Kit, you really, really do.
It's like the police are like, we don't understand this crime because it's to do with numbers.
They said they didn't do it, so...
We're powerless.
Every time
what do you want me to do?
We're able to get them to crack.
The only way we ever solve any crimes is through confessions in this police force.
They need to get McKinnon on this. She'd sort them out, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
need a
miss
proper
McKinnon.
tough nut cop. Yeah. Anyway, she's Daisy saying, look, you can't let my mum go. This Dom guy that Jenny was seeing, he's out there and he could be dangerous. So at this stage, where's Daisy on her plan? Is she at...
Well, she's trying... Well, this is her setting up, getting the cops onto Dom to give her a reason to get Dom to give her the money. Yes,
you're right, isn't it? It's laying that trail there.
You better give me the money to look after.
Yes. And if... I didn't see it coming. Oh, it's great. If she keeps him mumming overnight...
Because
if they keep her mumming overnight, me and Jenny can track Dom down ourselves. Which they don't, because this is Daisy's plan. Because
without us knowing what's happening, but obviously Daisy does know, but I don't know how she knows this, Dom has, in these 2 episodes, Dom manages to contact Jenny and tell her, hello, I'm the bank.
We didn't see that happening.
That £60,000 was being scammed from you. So you need to transfer it into another account so that we can make sure that it doesn't get stolen, because this account is compromised. Yeah. So move it into a safe account, which is obviously a scam, and then that account was accessible by Daisy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Dom's got a posh telephone voice like Carl Webster?
Yeah, probably.
That's how he gets away with it.
Do you think he can speak German?
Daisy returns to the pub and says, well, yeah, Christina, my mum's been kept in overnight. She and Jenny head out the back, and Jenny's like, look, the 2 of us ain't been rubbing along too well recently, have we? But I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad you're by my side. You're my wing woman.
See, this was good too, because Jenny is still not giving Daisy any credit or letting her be the main character. Like,
I am number one here.
Like, you're my wing woman. You're supporting me. You're the side character to me. I'm the main character. Yeah. So this is probably justifying her again. Like, you'll never let me stand on my own 2 feet or be out of your shadow. I need to leave this place.
Yeah, and this is what she reveals at the end of the scene. I'm moving away from Weatherfield. Need to start again somewhere else. And because this is Corrie, I'm leaving tomorrow, which is actually Friday.
I'm going
to be gone for good.
I didn't understand that she was moving because she didn't have a box with a plant in it.
No, I know.
But now I get it, because you can't take plants to Bali because they've already got them.
What did she? She literally had a medium to large size luggage.
I don't even take that when I go away for the night.
No, we've got a bigger one than that for going away somewhere. Daisy, how many clothes has she got?
You have to take.
Is she getting them shipped across in a massive container?
They don't have clothes in Bali. That number 1.
They walk around naked in Bali.
Yes. Number 2, you have to take, however many days you're going, you have to take 3 times the number of pants, because you don't know whether you're going to have an accident. You always have to pack triple the number of pants.
Right.
Anything could happen.
Friday, we will get onto the other stories soon. I'm just enjoying this one too much, really. Friday comes around and Jenny is desperately trying to get investment opportunities. She's on the phone trying to find someone else who will... Yeah, she could very well be just getting into another scam here, couldn't she? But she's got, her cards are all been played. She has got nothing. She's got no cards.
Oh, yeah. Well, she needs... I don't know why she needs £120,000.
Well, she just needs anything that's more than 60, because 60 ain't enough.
Well, that's 62.
Can't remember how much they've said the roses on the market for.
Well, Carla wants £250,000 back.
Oh, does she?
Well, yeah, that's how much they stole off of her, isn't it? And they've given her some money back, so they don't owe her the full amount. So my question is, if they sell the Rovers, is Carla going to give them some of the money? Because she should do, really. Shouldn't she?
Really don't given her...
How much is a pub? I don't even know how much a pub costs. It seems bizarre to me that you can just buy a whole pub for £250,000.
No clue.
Nobody teaches you this stuff in school. This would actually be useful. Michael, teach the children
how to
scam or own a business, which is the same thing.
Right, Kit comes along to the pub. Jenny leaves in with Daisy and he grills her about the scam, and she's like, I didn't know anything about her. My mum's always been a bit of a gold digger, she has. Sorry, can't help you. Kit goes off. Daisy is still leaving. She brings a case downstairs later. She's going to move to Brighton, apparently. Why not? And Jenny says, no, I wish you weren't. She kind of has accepted it by this point. The suitcase is out. She knows there's no turning back now. And she's also talking about looking forward to telling the police what a lowlife Christina is as well. And Ryan comes down. I was satisfied with the characters that got to say goodbye to Daisy. Were you? We got a goodbye from Daniel, from Bertie, from Ryan. They literally trotted out everybody. Because she's not made loads of friends,
I was going to say, it's quite
she's not
surprising
got a large social
no.
circle.
She basically stays in the pub.
Yeah, but she's...
That's fine though. She's made... I'd rather the characters had really strong bonds with a small group.
Yeah.
But I think every character is a bit like that now, don't you?
Yeah,
really?
yeah. There's not many people that have got large friendship groups. I mean,
No,
she hasn't got any girlfriends, has she?
In the whole history of Corrie, there's not really been anyone who's like, oh, if I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, it's going to take all day. The only person I can think of that is Hayley. Hayley kind of was friends with everybody.
She did a bit of a lap of honour, didn't she?
Yeah.
Hayley in a wheelchair before she shuffled off her perch.
Yeah.
Daisy just doesn't seem to be the sort of person that would do well in a friendship. I think that she would always want to be the better one, and I can imagine it evolving into some kind of mean girl thing, and one of them would backstab the other. I bet she's like the sort of person that was very popular at school, but everybody was just friends with her because they were sucking up to her, you know?
Yeah.
They might have even said that about her at some point.
She's a mean girl.
I don't know. But anyway,
you can tell by the bow in her
she
hair.
was, because who was that? Do you remember when those two friends of hers got invited to her hen do, and they were actually
didn't like her.
They were enemies of her or something. I can't remember. But anyway, they didn't get an invite for tonight's tour around the friends do, were they? Anyway, she's I've lost where I am in my notes again now. Ryan's come down. He says he's going to miss her. I liked it when she says, look, there's only the internet, and he kind of plays along with like, the internet, you say? How do you spell that? So anyway, she says, I'm sorry for everything. And they have one last little bit of trauma bonding, just for old time's sake. And that's kind of the end for them. And that's all I needed between her and Ryan. Thought it was nice that they paid homage to their months together.
I think that
they didn't need to. They could have very easily not.
A very good exit on the whole, definitely. Yeah. I mean, people have been on the show longer and been just bye.
Yeah, it was not a goodbye in the back of a taxi, off I go. I thought it was looking that way, but it wasn't. And enough people were there. You had that scene a little bit later when Ryan and Daniel and Kit are all in the bar together, didn't you? And they're kind of saying, oh yeah, Daisy, we've all had her. Sad that she's going to go. And Kit's like, I'm not. I couldn't care less. I'm going out with Sarah.
I feel that was a bit of a cope.
Do you reckon? Do you think?
Well, Kit just doesn't like any ego bruising at all.
I just don't think he holds on to any relationship once it's gone.
No, but I think it's more important to maintain the air of not caring about something than it is to actually examine whether he really does care about it or not.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he even knows himself.
This was around about when Carla came in with the estate agent and a potential buyer, so Jenny's getting more and more desperate. Like the writing is really on the wall here.
It's like, don't worry, Jenny. That guy is. I've never seen. We didn't even see his face, so he's not gonna.
He's fine.
I tell you what, she needs to worry about.
He's called buyer in the credits. You don't need to worry about him. If
somebody comes in and you recognise them,
that's when you're in trouble.
That's when you know, that's a proper actor. That is, they're going to be.
Oh, it's Michelle Collins. Watch out.
Daisy
goes to the flat to the
it's
Daniel's
Kim Marsh.
Flat. Daisy goes round to Michelle in ITV3. Michelle got her job at the Rovers this week. Daisy goes to the flat to say goodbye to Bertie. That was lovely. Bertie didn't seem that into it, I'm going to say.
Bertie just looked devastated to be on television.
He did. I don't know what direction had been given to the little lad who plays Bertie. If it was like, look sad.
He nailed it.
He nailed it, yeah.
Bless him.
If it was look uninterested, nailed that as well.
What else do you need
Bertie.
from him?
I do really, really love Bertie, but
he played his part.
He
looked sad.
That's almost the saddest goodbye of them all, really, because he's an innocent in this, and Daisy has been his kind of surrogate mum-ish for a while.
This is what was bothering me a little bit about her exit, because I was thinking, I don't buy any of this. This is the trouble with Coronation Street. What do you mean?
Fix this problem and everything's going to be hunky-dory.
No, there's no way around it, because you have to break up couples when one of the characters wants to leave, unless you fire the other actor, which it's not really fair.
Not we did, Andrea.
So Daisy going after everything she said about Bertie and how much she loves him and how important he is, and all the time she spent looking after him and caring for him, and she's been a real big important part of his life for years, and that was one of the things that attracted her to Daniel, I think, is how much of a great mum she was, or surrogate mum to Bertie.
I think it helped her to be grounded and be in a quote unquote normal relationship, because she's kind of just been through this string of men probably in her life, and
she's a very chaotic person.
Yeah, very chaotic, very superficial,
yeah.
And it's like, no, actually, maybe if I could settle down here. Yeah. And they for a time had a really lovely family.
And how much she said she loves Daniel and everything. So I was like, I don't buy this. This is a bit weird. Like she's just going to Brighton. She doesn't need to go to Brighton. She just doesn't want to be in Weatherfield. And I was like, I don't buy this at all. This just doesn't feel... This is ringing a bit hollow to me. Yeah. But then when I realised that she's actually just pulling a big scam and she's going to Bali, it makes way more sense.
But does it affect how you think about these scenes? Like, she was... Daniel here is fuming and she's looking at him as she leaves.
The difference is, like, she's not going, oh, we can't be together because Brighton is too far, you know... Which is kind of what you're expected to believe about a lot of these characters. Like, oh, it's just, we're not meant to be. Brighton's too far away. No one can travel from Manchester to Brighton. It's impossible. But what she was saying was like, sorry, I'm doing a crime. So I can't stick about and it can't be your mum anymore, you know? Yeah, and that makes way more sense. The choice that she made to become a criminal... you know, that's just Daisy being Daisy, isn't it? So
I definitely got a sense
I was much happier with the fact that she was buggering off to be an international criminal.
Yeah, I definitely got a real, genuine sense of regret in her eyes looking at Daniel as she left, though, because I think at that moment she would have been thinking, you know, it's not too late for this.
But it wasn't just a case of, oh, we can't be together because you will never leave Weatherfield. It's a case of, we cannot be together because of how fundamentally different we both are. You don't even know what I've done, but I know you wouldn't forgive me. Basically,
he'd go back to where Daniel always goes back.
No, they those two are just too different, and they do love each other. But this isn't really a fixable situation, I don't think, unless Charlotte Jordan comes back in 3 years' time, in which case I'm sure
for round 2 with Bethany
sort it out. But you know what I mean, like. There's just it's a big difference between.
It felt a little hokey splitting them up. But
no, it makes more sense to me than the whole I'm going to Brighton.
Yeah, the scam did in the end. Anyway, so
I preferred it that way.
We get Christina released from prison. Oh, Ken gets to tell off Daniel, which was excellent. And Daniel's like, "Stuff off, Dad. I'm not in the mood for this."
I would be scared of Ken because he's wearing murderer's gloves.
He was wearing a pair of Hillmans today, wasn't he, Ken?
Yeah.
He was Don Ken of the Godfather of Coronation Street in today's episode.
I would find it quite enjoyable if Ken's eventual exit storyline was just him going on a murderous rampage. But like, stuff this, I can't be bothered with this anymore.
Right, so I think it could be a bit Truman-ish because he has never left the street, has he? And he's just going to go to the end of Weatherfield and then just find the door that leads him out into the real world.
This viaduct, the other road is painted on. I've never looked closely.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I've been Ken Barlow.
What a great film.
Daisy goes to the pub later, finds Jenny crying in the back. She says, the buyer's been round. Now there's my investment's fallen through. I am royally screwed here. But it's you who's breaking my heart. Please stay. And this is very much, I felt, this was Sally Ann Matthews saying goodbye to Charlotte Jordan in this scene with the tears.
Whenever there's a scene like this where you know that they've got a good working relationship.
Yeah, Sally Ann Matthews has made no secret of the fact that she and Charlotte have been bosom buddies ever since she joined the show. They've just really clicked, haven't they? And it was like that tweet that she put out 8 weeks ago, I guess. Do you remember? Sally Ann Matthews put out a tweet saying, what was it? What she said? I'm bereft or...
something like that.
In denial. That's what it was. She put out a tweet saying in denial, and then all the papers jumped on it and said that it was about the fact that she'd been sacked or something ridiculous like this. But no, this was actually posted on Charlotte Jordan's last day of filming, and it was Sally Ann Matthews being in denial of the fact that she's gone because they were really, really close, and this was definitely a little bit of real life seeping into the performance there. But that's sometimes what makes the best performances, doesn't it? She's saying to her Daisy, look, she's desperate at this point. She's like saying, look, we can work, we can be equals. It can be a new era of us. And Daisy's like, no, I can't. Too much water under the bridge. Too much has happened. Jenny's sobbing. Daisy goes upstairs, gets her into the taxi outside. But as Tim pulls down the street, Daniel comes running down the cobbles and says, Daisy, don't go. I need 5 minutes with you. And I was thinking, what's going to happen here? I was really glad that, as I say, wasn't the final scenes, but I was curious about how it was going to end. And as a lifetime Daniel and Daisy shipper, I was satisfied that they got a final lovely scene here. He just proclaims his love to her. He says, I can't lose you. I don't want to spend the rest of my life with you. And all through this, Christina's trying to call her, but she's just hanging up. Did we get to see any more of... Oh, yeah, we did. We did see more Christina after this, didn't we? Of course we did. They just have a lovely last scene together, and where he's saying, look, I'll go with you wherever. I love you. And she's like, no, you won't go through with it. Weatherfield's your home. This relationship isn't healthy. And like you said, she's in full-on scamming mode here. I wonder when she was supposed to have given him this envelope. You know, did she have it on a special recorded delivery thing so that little postman would come
Maybe
around
she
and
just gave it to him and said, don't open it till I've gone.
But did she give it to him at this point, or was it after the first meeting? Because if she didn't intend to go back and see him again at this point, so it stands to reason that she gave it to him, or maybe she just left it in the fridge or something for him to find later on.
Left it in his favourite book of poetry. I know he'll be reaching for the sonnets after I leave because he'll be so devastated.
Just to console myself, yeah. But because it was Ken that made him. Because Ken, when he gave him his telling off, said, you clearly still love this girl, otherwise you wouldn't be as grumpy as you are. Like, trust me from someone who knows.
Listen to me, son, if you want scenes, you've got to go after her.
But anyway, they have a kiss. He says, wherever you end up, please be happy. And that was the last that we get to see of the two of them together. Meanwhile, at the pub, you got Jenny, who is in panic mode.
I was like, what's happened now?
Yeah, everything from like this point onwards, when Daniel runs up to the taxi, like, I have got no idea where any of this is going, but I'm loving it.
That Dom had stolen the money from both of them.
Yes, yeah, same here. Yeah, but Jenny says, look, the money's gone. The safe account that I transferred the money into doesn't exist. That was a scam as well. And then Christina comes in, heads into the back. And she
must know that this was Dom.
Who? Christina.
The money's been transferred, right? And she knew that Dom was doing it.
Yeah, because Christina has this moment of realisation, doesn't she? Like, hang on a minute, this must be Daisy. And Dom set up a fake account to make out that this was a safe place for Jenny to steal her money, but Daisy must have asked to keep it safely in case.
I loved her putting the pieces together of Christina, like, well, 60 grand, it was never mine, so I don't really care.
But she is impressed by her craftiness. Yeah. That's what I love as well. It is almost like a good on girl. You would trip up the old block. Yeah, it was fab. And Jenny's not so happy. She's all wobbly lipped. How could you do this to me? But Daisy drives off into the distance with Tim, just as Jenny comes out of the pub looking around exasperatedly, but doesn't get to see her. I don't know what Jenny expected to see, considering that Daisy had left half an hour ago, but never mind.
Just want some fresh air.
She tries to leave Daisy a message on her phone, but
well, she's like, going, how could you do this? Yeah. How could you do this to me?
Yeah, and this is when we get our montage. Julie gets her money to give to a charity of her choice. I didn't
like this.
Kit gets a drink. I just what
moving
didn't you like about it?
Moving on up is playing. Well, I don't like that. I know it was supposed to be diegetic because it was coming out of the taxi, right? And then at the end she says, turn it up. I didn't like the voiceover. I thought it was a bit weird. Of Daisy reading out the note.
Reading the letter.
I don't know how else they could have done it. I thought it was a bit cheesy, but the worst bit for me was the fact that the music was supposed to obviously blend into the theme tune, but instead it came to an abrupt end while they put in a memoriam picture for poor Philip Lowry, who died this week, who played Dennis Tanner, and then they had a moment of silence for him, and then they went off into the...
Yeah, that was a little bit clunky.
I don't know why they didn't put it on Wednesday. It feels like obviously there was a reason that
Especially as, Dennis Tanner would have loved a good bit of bingo at the Rovers, wouldn't he?
It would have been a better episode to put it in. I guess they didn't have time. But the way that they obviously wanted this to be a musical... They never really do music on Corrie very much. And
increasingly more in recent years.
Okay, all right, that's not true. But it's rare, isn't it? And then just to have it sort of record scratch, oh, Philip Lowry died, and then, oh, anyway, the end of the episode. I thought it was not, it didn't work for the, it was clumsy. It didn't work for being a tribute because it kind of made it look like it blundered in. So that was kind of disrespectful to his memory. It didn't work because it brought her triumphant ending to an abrupt end, didn't it? Like, you know, suddenly, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, but you weren't particularly enjoying it even before the tribute.
No, because I thought it was a bit cheesy.
I didn't
but
mind
you
it
loved
whatsoever.
It, so
I just thought that it was very much a kind of, I am getting closure on all these relationships that I've had. It was tying up all the loose ends in a way. It was showing,
why you liked it.
I'm triumphant, I've come out on top here, I'm jetting off into the distance. It was a real kind of feel-good ending for the character, when I was worried before that she was, because she was involved in this scam, that she'd just be walking away from Weatherfield with her tail between her legs,
it was
kicked out by Daisy, or realising herself
that...
that...
Jenny.
Jenny, or realising herself that she's been a bit of a wrong un and just kind of going with her head held down, but it wasn't. It was totally in character.
I think I'll probably like it tomorrow. I just did it on reflection. I'll probably like it more than I like it now. Yeah. And I know loads of people loved it and they thought it was great.
I haven't seen any of the
story.
I
don't have a problem at all with the story. I think the story was really good, and I liked the fact that I was watching it going, this doesn't make any sense. Like, this is a typical Corrie exit where they just have to pull something out of a hat because it doesn't make any sense. Like, that's the trouble about a lot of these things. If you're not going to kill the character off, it doesn't often make sense why they would leave at all.
Yeah.
And so they're already at a kind of disadvantage trying to write an exit storyline because it's out of their control, really, about who decides. The best exit storylines, unfortunately, are the ones that get sprung on somebody because it's it's a creative decision, not one that's been made because of somebody doesn't want to be in the show anymore.
Yeah.
But this was a really, really excellent, a way to end it, going out like she came in.
And she's going to the Archers, isn't she?
Yeah, she's
Charlie Jordan's got her next job lined up already. She's going to be in the Archers for anybody who fancies those dulcet tones. But don't forget, she's not going to sound like Daisy there because she puts on an accent, doesn't she?
Where are they from in the Archers?
I don't really know. The country.
Oh, the country.
Is she going to be going, who are? I'm Daisy.
No, she said her character's going to ruffle some feathers.
She is going to ruffle some feathers there, but is that just the chickens on the farm? I don't know. Right,
maybe.
That's that. We will have a lot more to say when we get around to doing our Daisy character profile.
We've really just said so much.
It's fine. It's what podcast's for. It's just about blathering on. I think it's going to be a long one tonight, but the temperature is cooling now, and let's move on to the Debbie story.
I've just looked up where the Archers are set.
Oh, where is it?
Borsetshire.
That doesn't help.
Which is between Worcestershire and Warwickshire.
Well, there we go.
In the Midlands.
Oh, my place.
Make your bloody mind up, Midlanders.
Right.
Where you got to pick a side. You can't just be neutral like the Switzerland of England. You got to pick a side.
Now, where Wednesday's episode was Christina territory, today was all about Daisy. Monday was squarely the Debbie episode, wasn't it? Because this was about her going to the doctors or the hospital and getting her MRI scan results and her horrible diagnosis. So, Gemma, just to lower the mood of things.
Thanks for giving me this one.
I'll pass that over to you.
Right. Okay, so there were 2 super clumsy scenes on Monday's episode, which I absolutely hated.
Critical. Which
recruited these poor speaking extras who bad. So Debbie is behind the reception at the hotel, and a woman comes over and she says, I want some batteries. And Debbie's like, oh, I found some. And she can't remember the word for remote control. And the woman's like, wouldn't it be nice if we could replace our batteries? Wouldn't it be nice? But we can't, can we? Because we can't. We're not made of metal or whatever remote control. I mean, some people are made of plastic, I guess. But it was just really, I just thought it was like, we don't need this.
There were, they're throwing
Monday's
it at her, aren't they?
Monday's episode was like, they went, oh, I don't know if people understand.
At least this
it's
was...
like being treated like an idiot, honestly.
At least this was slightly subtle compared to what happened later outside the hospital.
It wasn't, though. It was like, what? Do the viewers get it? I don't know. I mean, we just had like months of like double crossing money changing hands, and obviously we didn't not following that well. So they're obviously thinking we're all imbeciles who need to have everything explained to us. And
Debbie's worried that she's got dementia.
Debbie's worried because she can't remember what a remote control is. Okay, so be sure to keep an eye out for that today's episode, you idiots. So Ronnie's like, oh, let's spend some time together. And she says, no, I can't. And Carl can see she's struggling to come up with an excuse. So he says, oh, she's got to do something with me. Meanwhile, Ronnie is planning a surprise for Debbie. So Carl goes with Debbie, doesn't he, to this appointment.
The posh hospital.
Yeah, the private hospital.
I don't know whether this was the place where Carla got her kidney out. But I hope they've upped the security.
Or something?
I don't know.
So the doctor says, yeah, you've got the MRI results have come in, you have vascular dementia, but, you know, it could be years until it really wrecks your life, but it will be life-limiting. And Debbie's like, oh, well, can you tell me how long I've got? And she's like, don't Google it. I won't tell you, though.
Sue was just superb during this.
Oh,
and
superb.
She was superb. And... yeah, she has just got this little hint. I just saw a different expression on her face that I don't know whether we've seen for Debbie before, and it was kind of like a little bit of anger at the situation that she's found herself in. And yes, you see her getting kind of frustrated and, you know, Raphael, but this was defeatist and anger at the same time. And
well, she's like been told there's nothing we can do. Like, there's no medicine, there's no help, there's nothing. And Carl's like, oh, what, you know, are we going to have more appointments about, you know, the GP? And like, no, there's nothing we can do. There's no point having an appointment. There's literally nothing. There's nothing to do about this. It's just a slow decline.
She isn't dismissive. She does say, look, you don't need to live in fear. I know it's a scary word, but it's, you know...
it's easy for you to say.
Yeah, you ain't got it. But, you...
What can you really say?
I, on behalf of Debbie, did do a little bit of voggling myself on vascular dementia. God. And apparently the average life expectancy is 5 years from diagnosis. I do not expect Debbie's story is going to last 5 years, so something horrible is going to happen in between. But apparently there's like 7 or 8 stages of vascular dementia, and it's stage 3 or 4 where people mostly get diagnosed with it.
I don't want to know.
I think,
hate this.
well, wait and see, because I think that's the roadmap for Coronation Street for the next couple of years.
I don't want to know about this. I don't
It's really depressing. Like, at the moment, apart from the odd remote control related memory lapse, which we're all prone to, she's still very much Debbie, isn't she?
I hate this.
But I don't know how long it's going to be. And it was this... It's not the same with Paul. Because Paul was still Paul. He just couldn't move. But
this is
Debbie
the opposite.
is... this. Yeah, it is. You're right. This is the opposite. Her body...
It's fine.
I guess. You know, I don't know exactly how it works. But her mind is going to be gone. And she talks to... Is it Carl that she speaks to later? It must be. Saying, my mind is my strongest asset. Yeah. You know, everyone's always said how quick-witted I am.
I use it all the time.
Yeah, I'm always thinking, me.
Yeah.
And at some point, she's going to be gone, and we're not going to get her back. And that really is horrific and sad to think that. So appreciate her while you got her, everybody. Yeah, so I know I don't need to tell you that.
This lady's like, don't live in fear, but get your affairs in order, including your financial bits and pieces. And Carl's like, yes.
Carl's like, affairs, you say?
With who? So outside the hospital, Carl's looking at this, like, they gave her a leaflet, like, so you have vascular dementia, what next? Kind of thing.
What's next is you're going to meet other people with vascular dementia right outside. Oh, there they come now, just to show you just how horrible it's going to be and looking into your own future.
Debbie she's like, don't worry about that now. She kind of like, Carl's a little joke and makes a giggle and says, you're not on your own. And she says, like, look, I'm not telling anyone today, just don't make me.
Classic soap reaction.
You let me sit here for a bit. So he goes and leaves her, and you've written he pretends to struggle to say he loves her. Why do you think he was pretending? I don't remember
because this. I think, I mean, I still struggle to believe fully that anything that he says isn't driven by I want your money.
I want to say also, I find it really hard to believe that they have a very deep bond as siblings when they were not raised in the same house. They've got a massive age difference.
Yeah, they barely know each other, do they?
I would find it very difficult to build a relationship with somebody who didn't live in the same country as me, who I never had a childhood with and rarely ever saw. But, okay, some people have different...
But I don't think we're supposed to think they do, really. But
they're acting really close. This is kind of what's bothering me about this, is that Debbie and Kevin are kind of like acting like there's this unspoken relationship that they've been having all these years. I think it would have made a lot more sense if he had just been like, look, I know we haven't spoken at all, but I want to change that. Instead of coming in like, oh yeah, I'm your brother who doesn't know what your wife looks like, but I love you.
But he's
both.
He's just saying that. He's.
I know he is just saying it, but they're saying it too. That's what I'm saying. That what's Debbie and Kevin's. Debbie and Kevin are not exactly the most gregarious of humans to start with, are they? They're not like, let me just run around the streets throwing confetti in case it brightens someone's day. They don't give a crap, really. They're not horrible. They're not actively horrible, but they don't care about people.
No.
So why are they like, oh, I love Carl. It's my favourite
For plot
sibling
purposes, that's why anything happens here.
It just I would have found it more believable if it had been a bit more of a building relationships rather than it pretending one existed.
Yeah.
So Carl goes home and he's like, oh, Abby's there. And he's like, oh, I missed out on my family. Oh... He knows he doesn't bloody know them.
I thought that this was going to be the moment when it happens, when the affair starts. Abby's still resisting. I really would like to think that she can continue to resist, but this is when because she says wait and stay, doesn't she?
Well, look.
But then he goes in for a kiss.
Abby's like, you're thinking about Kevin's cancer? And he's like, no.
Yeah. They
get chatting and she's like, everything's going to be fine. And then he goes in for this kiss and she's like, no, what the hell what are you doing? And he's like, sorry, I just got carried away. And then Kevin comes in and he can sense this atmosphere. And Abby's like, oh, we were just having a disagreement about you. And so Carl runs off, basically, because he's an idiot. Debbie is trying to boggle her life expectancy on the bench, because of course she would. She
would. She's definitely the sort of person that would.
You're not going to be like, no.
Want to know.
And I think it's horrific. This is horrible.
Some people wouldn't want to know. Some people.
Well, your mum didn't want to know.
No, my mum didn't want to know. She just kind of kept on going.
Yeah.
And then until she didn't. But yeah, Debbie's like, she needs to plan. She needs to be able to.
She's got to know. She's got a business.
Yeah. But it's not just that. Know. She doesn't like to be in the dark about anything. But yeah, she's literally she presses the go button on Boggle, doesn't she, when Ronnie interrupts by phoning her.
And she's getting really flustered, and he's trying to spring this surprise on her, and she's like, I don't know how long I'm going to be, and she just sits there, being miserable until we get the future Debbie.
Future Debbie Webster comes visiting her.
So this poor older lady who's obviously confused comes up to Debbie and she's like, take my bag, look after my bag, the people in there, they're trying to steal it, they go through my things and they they're after me, and you look like you're a nice person, can you help me? And then this woman comes over, and a younger woman, and it's obviously her daughter, and she's like, oh, sorry about her, she doesn't know where she is. And yeah, manages, she's like, come on, Mum, you like custard slice? And I was like, I love custard slices, how did you know? And Debbie's like, oh, she got Alzheimer's. And then he's like, no, she's got vascular dementia. Don't get that, whatever you do.
That was really...
That was just unnecessary. That was the whole scene should have been taken out.
I thought that the lady playing us like the woman was very, very good. But it was too obvious.
Why was it vascular dementia? Like, who's... Why was it so specifically vascular dementia? Because if it was something else, was Debbie going to go, oh well, at least it's not that. It's all going to be the same in the end. It doesn't really matter what the cause of it is. It's still going to be the same.
I don't particularly mind that scenes like that happen because they always do. But it didn't need to happen right on the same day that she got her diagnosis. And I know you may be more likely to find people in her condition around a memory clinic than just, walking in the precinct, but Yeah, I thought it was a little bit too on the nose.
It didn't need to happen either, because why did we need this scene? Because Debbie already knew her future. She already was sad about it. It's not like she was in there going, "Oh well, I'll be fine. I don't think it's going to affect me. I can overcome it with the power of my mind."
No, I think that you can read about it or see videos or whatever, but actually coming confronted face to face with a fellow.
That. We don't need that.
No, we didn't. But
well, why does she? We don't need to see that. No, I just thought it's totally unnecessary, and it makes us all, it feels like they had no faith whatsoever in the viewers to be able to put it together for themselves.
That she's in for a
that
bad
she
time.
Might end up with vascular dementia now. She's been given a diagnosis of vascular dementia.
No, I think it was important for Debbie to see.
Well, what did you not like about this scene then?
Oh, I just thought it was just a bit too obvious, a bit too coincidental.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't mind that it happened at some point. But
the daughter might as well have gone, "Oh, she's got vascular dementia. She used to be a very important businesswoman who had her own hotel, and she used to, and the sad thing also is that her brother has cancer as well, and her sister-in-law is an ex-drug addict who is cheating on him with the brother who was from Germany.
And her poor partner with the big bulging muscles and floppy hat.
They're adopting a child at the same time, so it's a bit awkward.
But of course, you wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
No, you
Thank
can't
goodness.
relate.
Count
it's
your
such
blessings,
a specific
bench
situation.
Lady. Yeah. And she just like she doesn't even know how to put her own earrings on these days. No. She's got such a fabulous collection of eclectic earrings.
Really great dress sense. Now look at her.
Now look at her. She's a
That's the worst thing about it, really. I mean, everything else I could forgive, but the dress sense, the vascular dementia.
They say when you get vascular dementia, the dress sense is the first thing to go.
Yeah, you imagine in the leaflet it just says you might want to get someone to pick out your outfits for you.
I think it's Daisy.
Being very flippant about this, but
what is it? Debbie's dress sense is so out there that it does look like sometimes it's just picked a random thing.
Do you think that was the first symptom?
Yeah, maybe that's how it started.
This is being disrespectful.
Oh well, you got to laugh about these things.
We are just joking
because it's very, very sad. That's how we do things in this country. Well, we're taking a leaf out of Paul's book.
If you've gotten this far, I don't know how. If you don't,
and Julie, she's making fun of it as well.
But she's allowed to.
She's got it.
Right. So at the hotel, Debbie returns and he's like, Ronnie says, "I've got a surprise for you," and she's like, "I'm not in the mood," and he says, "Guess what? Anyway, I don't care. I've put in an offer on number 6.
Ooh, Yasmin's
and Arlie's
house.
accepted to it, and let's live together." And Debbie says, "No, I don't want to buy a house with you. I'm not going to live with you. In fact, I'm breaking off the engagement." And again, he's like, "What?"
Classic soap thing to do.
And she says, "Look, we've got different things. We want different things. You might want to have kids one day. Ronnie, you might want to have kids one day." He's like, "I got one and I don't like it." He says, "Look, no, there's got to be more. What do you mean? No, I love you. I don't want anything else. What do you mean? You're making this up. There's something else." And she's like, "No, don't think I love you anymore." And Ronnie can't believe this.
That was the harshest bit, wasn't it? When she says, "I don't think I love you anymore." Because she obviously really doesn't believe that.
Like, you asked me to marry you last week.
They didn't need to do this, but I suppose it's going to make some interesting drama down the road. It's just sad, but like I said earlier, I think it would have been a hell of a lot more effective if they'd done anything over the past 3 years they've been together to actually make us know what they're like as a couple.
This is what Swallow fans are slowly beginning to understand, is that the couple, they're not in it unless they're getting together or they're in danger and having a fight. That's basically how it goes on Coronation Street.
Basically.
And you're not going to get...
At least Carla and Lisa have got a house.
You're not going to get kisses unless there's a plot reason for it, really. That's just how Coronation Street has always been. Yeah. That's just how it is.
I did feel really bad for Ronnie when he goes like, "Oh wow, we're really doing this," when he realises this is the end.
Is he going to still move into the house then? Who's going to live there then it's not...
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Arlie was accepted, but there's, as we know from moving houses, it's you can say you want to buy a house in May, you're still not in by Christmas.
Well, you can also literally the day before you're going to pay for it go, nah. That's how it. In Scotland, if you put in an offer, I think you're legally obliged to buy it.
I can remember that as well at the time.
Which is a much better system than this one, which is just like just chaos. So he's just really upset and devastated. And she's like, right, let's move on. Don't worry about it.
Well, she's obviously broken inside as well. She doesn't want to be doing it to
save him.
That's it, isn't it? She's doing it to protect him. Being very noble. Yes. She doesn't want him to become the Billy in this relationship.
Yeah, she just doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't want to be a burden. So all of the Websters except Jack, because he's boring, go to the Rovers, and Kevin's like, I can't believe this, that you've broken up with Ronnie. And she's like, well, I'm not interested in what you've got to say, to be honest with you. And she keeps crying, and she's like, taking off her ring and crying. And Carl comes and finds her and gives her a hug. And she says, I couldn't do this to Ronnie. I had to set him free. And I don't want him to watch me disintegrate into someone he doesn't know. And also the sad thing about it is that because they've not been together for very long, she might not even know who he is half the time. When it seems, I don't know very much about different types of dementia, but it does seem as though there's a certain point at which the memories just don't exist anymore. But very early ones do. Like, people often remember their parents.
Yeah, one of the things that I read on the website the other day is that there are stages when you might still have very vivid memories of your childhood.
Yeah, but also some people might remember their husband or their wife if they got together when they were very young. But because they have not been together that long, she might forget him quite quickly. I don't know. They're gonna
obviously they're gonna get back together again. Surely they are.
Well,
but I kind of want her to. She's going to have a moment somewhere, isn't she, where she doesn't recognise someone. And there's going to be moments where she doesn't seem to recognise anyone, but then there'll be a scene where she has a glimmer of recognition of someone, and it's going to be very, very bittersweet. And I don't really want that to be Ronnie, but just because, like I said, I don't get the Debbie and Ronnie relationship. I kind of want it to be Kevin.
I do believe them as a couple.
Do you?
Yeah. They're both business people.
Made for each other.
Yeah. So anyway, Carl and Debbie are talking, and she's saying, "I love him. I wish I didn't have to do this." And he says, "Ronnie's going to find out you've done this." And she says, "Well, when he does, and that you've got dementia." And she says, "Well, by then he'll have moved on, hopefully."
To Christina, apparently.
And then she says, "This is my choice. While I still have one, me and Ronnie, we're over." So again, this is another. It seems like it's another case of she's desperately looking for some way to exert control over anything, and this is the only thing she can do.
Yeah.
It's a big life thing, and she's in charge of it, and she's kind of doing it in a self-destructive way.
Yeah, even though she's been told, you still could have years ahead of you where
you're
exactly the same situation as you are now.
Look at Julie and Brian.
Well, yeah, and they've clearly got a much shorter shelf life, and they're still enjoying it. But literally, Debbie's condition at the moment could be completely unchanged for the next few years. But as far as she's concerned, and I guess it's a natural reaction, it's over. Because if you've got a prognosis of 5 years, then that's nothing. Nothing compared to what you thought you would have in front of you.
So, What a depressing story. Thank you, Coronation Street. So on Wednesday, Carl invites Debbie to the bingo, and they get Abby to come, but she's not that happy because Carl's going to be there because that awkward kiss. They all go along. Then Ronnie and Ed turn up, and it's all a bit awkward because they're like, "Oh no, I can't believe that they're there." And then they try to leave, but Julie guilt trips them. And George jokes about them falling out over who's paying, and it gets very, very awkward. They're all fuming off.
Yeah, because I don't think everybody or George at that point
they don't know what's going on.
They've split up even.
George didn't even know that Sarah and what's his face were dating.
Todd.
Yeah.
So
in the booth after the bingo, Carl again is trying to come on to Abby. He's such a scumbag, and going, "Oh, just get away from the everyday, ordinary, boring old cancer
He's
husband."
so horrible.
Abby's resisting. Then Abby finds Carl consoling Debbie, and Debbie tells Abby that Carl is a diamond.
Is that all she needs to know, is it? Seriously, Abby, don't give in, girl. Just resist. Keep on resisting until he goes back to Germany. Not happy with where this storyline could be going.
Go back to Germany and enjoy your sausages and bread.
Yes.
On Friday, Debbie brings Ronnie round for some bitsy bobsies, and they're very civil to each other. And she's like, "Look, I know it's a cliche, but it's not you, it's me." And he says, "Look, is there anything going on I don't know about?" And she's like, "No, and they have a sort of a sad goodbye, and then it turns more into a Dee Dee storyline.
Yeah, it's what Ronnie does next.
Ronnie's been left literally holding the baby, and it's fascinating to me that there's no long-term plan here. Danny's dying in a bed somewhere.
I can't believe
no one cares about this man.
No update about Danny. How long's it been now? Month and a half, maybe?
What are they doing to him?
I don't know.
What are they doing to him? I say, this is a soap, right? You're either dead or alive. You've got a week, right? And if you're not better by the end of the week, you might as well die. That's how it works.
They did make an insinuation in today's episode, didn't they, that James is coming back at some point? Because this is basically, to cut a long story short, Dee Dee ends up helping Ed looking after Layla. And
picking her up and cuddling her and going, it's only till James comes back.
Yeah, so they are planning for him to come back, but you're right, it is bizarre that we've not had any kind of update on time frames or...
I think what's happened is that because Danny's in America now, he's in an American soap. So his evil twin is probably trying to tempt him into hell, or they switched over.
I thought you were going to
cut his head off and put it on a different body or something.
Make some remark about how much it costs to foot his bill for whatever horrific thing has befallen him.
Yeah, if I was...
Oh, it's a car accident, isn't it?
If I were... Yeah, sorry, but if you get into a car accident in America, it's divorce. I've got to protect the assets of the family.
So, do you think that this is just going to be Dee Dee falling in love with her baby daughter? She's, it's not going to take much, is it?
Well, it will take exactly the amount of time until James returns for her to decide that she doesn't want him to take the baby back. Yeah,
poor James. I feel in advance sorry for James that there is no way that he's keeping this baby now.
Yeah, we're not getting anything about James wants a photo, what has James decided here? This is very weird.
Yeah, does he know what's going on?
He's in a coma as well.
If I was James, I would not really be happy with the birth mother, bringing up the baby that was supposed to be mine.
We'll take it with you then.
But equally, he'd fallen in love with this baby very quickly. There were those really cute scenes of James at the hospital, weren't there? And yet, has he phoned up? Has he done?
Well, yeah, but
how's the baby doing? Literally, we've heard nothing from him.
If you're in the hospital, right, and you're going to adopt, from birth, and the mum, she's there and she's gone through this ordeal, and you're holding the baby, and you're like, what are you supposed to do? Look at it and go, I don't really like this one. Have you got a different one that I could have? Is there another one that's going, could we swap that one?
Yeah.
Why not? Anyway, so there's also a falling out between Ronnie and Dee Dee because he's like, you're not here, make your mind up.
Well, that's what kind of spurs her on to go and help a little bit, isn't it? But yeah, I'm imagining that Ronnie and Debbie are going to take inspiration from the beautiful love story, tragic love story of Brian and Julie here. So they're gonna... I don't know how long it's going to be, but I think Debbie's going to realise, even though these characters have got nothing to do with her as well, that they're still happy and they only had weeks, months together. I'm going to go back to him. I'm not worried for the state of their relationship at all.
Imagine though if she was like, oh Ronnie, I've got to come clean to you. I pushed you away because I've got vascular dementia and I don't want you to have to take care of me and be a burden to you, and I'm scared of the future and I don't want to hurt you. And he'll be like, oh, it's a good job you said that, actually, because I do not fancy looking after you. If you're going to go crazy, I'd rather just bow out now.
Well, they did that in Coronation Street in the early 90s because they had the story of Emily Bishop dating that vicar. I can't remember how much of that storyline you've seen. And
I haven't seen any of it, but I remember reading.
They were a really good match. And then this was when he found out that she had had a mental breakdown or something at some point. And he said, my ex-wife had problems with her memory, or she had dementia or something. And it was absolutely horrific looking after her. I can't do it. Sorry, Emily. I'm going to have to let you go. And it was kind of an understandable thing to say. They didn't kind of villainise him because of it.
Oh,
and
God.
So you never know. Maybe Ronnie would be like that. No, he won't. He's far too honourable a bloke, isn't he?
Well...
But is he going to find a new partner first? Is he going to shack up with, well, not Christina, but somebody? I wonder whether he's going to go back to Jenny, Ever since that time that they ended up in bed together, I've just had this huge fear that he would one day find himself drawn to the boudoir at the Rovers again.
The flame-haired sorceress.
The flame-haired sorceress.
Well, he's got a business. He's got money now. He was going to buy that house. What if Jenny goes, listen, let's get back together. Let's buy the pub together.
If he's really hurting, which he is, and he's kind of in denial about what's happened.
Well, he's lashing out at Dee Dee.
Well, yeah, and he was caught by Debbie earlier in the cafe as well today, saying, "Oh no, it's all done and dusted. It's over." He's putting on a front here, clearly. But he could end up pushing this too far and saying, "No, I'm going to prove just how over I am to protect my ego by not taking advantage of vulnerable Jenny, but offering her a reassuring shoulder to cry on, muscular
nice
shoulder
big,
to Ronnie versus Theo." I think we need to see that at some point. And and those two end up together. That definitely does concern me because I 100% don't want that to happen.
This is what I mean.
And then you got Debbie versus Jenny, which could be a whole lot of fun. Couldn't it? There's potential there. What were you going to say?
This is why I'm not worried about Jenny and the Rovers, because if Coronation Street wants to, they'll just be like, oh yeah, and she shacked up with Ronnie and he bought the pub.
Well, maybe.
Next question.
Maybe. Right. On to the Betsy storyline. / Lauren, and there's not a whole lot to go on here. The messages that came last week, she just gets a few more at the beginning of Monday's episodes, doesn't she? We were suggesting that maybe it was Lisa in last week's podcast. I said it was, and Lisa was just being an utter cow towards her daughter's friend.
I'm going to say that Lisa's mask of respectability as a cop has kind of fallen a bit this week.
Did you say?
What?
Why is this?
Because of what she's saying to Tracy about the fact that her daughter stole Tracy's car, crashed it, and Tracy's like, "Can I be compensated?" And she's like, "No."
No, what are you going to do about it?
No, do you know why? Because you were rude. What do you mean?
She's a hard ball, isn't she?
She's not. What?
She's a tough nut.
I thought she was supposed to be for justice and stuff.
When it suits her.
She's a bit, isn't she?
Yeah.
That's what we all are. Who can blame her?
Yeah, Lauren. So anyway, back to Lauren. She's getting these messages. One of them says, "Are you scared yet?" So this is clearly somebody trying to intimidate her, saying, "I know that you saw them." And at one point,
the worst thing happens is that Bobby comes in.
Well, Bobby's one of the suspects at the moment now.
Do you think Bobby's doing this?
I don't know. I kind of like the idea that Bobby's turns into an evil stalker because it means
that would make him more exciting, like Joel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, imagine Lauren's getting these messages going, "Oh, are you scared? Are you scared? Like, you should be scared because you're in trouble." And then Bobby comes in like, "Oh, Lauren, are you scared? Do you want a cuddle? Do you want to sit next to me under a blanket?" It
could be. It won't be. They wouldn't do that to Bobby.
Why?
Because Bobby's supposed to be a beloved.
No. That ship sailed.
I know it has, but
it's the Titanic.
I don't think they're ready to throw him under the bus yet.
Why?
But I don't know who it could be.
But that would be the making of him. He would be a much more interesting character if he even had a personality at this point. He's never had one.
Turn him into a bit of a Justin Rutherford.
He's just been a pervert who likes to tell bad jokes.
But that's not supposed to be what the character is. It's just what we've kind of taken from his...
He's like an uneloquent Russell Brand.
Yeah, oh well, that's particularly scathing. I wouldn't go that far. He was in court today,
he's a comedian who's a pervert.
He's not a pervert.
The comedy scene in this country is full of perverts.
He's not. He just fancied a girl. He just fancied a girl.
Let me turn the temperature down. No, she doesn't want to.
You will not let that one go, will you? Honestly?
No, because women have been preyed on like this, and we've been brainwashed by pop culture to think it's charming.
I know.
It's
anyway,
not.
I don't think it's Bobby, but I'm struggling to think of many possible suspects because Lauren doesn't really know anyone in the street, does she?
I know.
So
it's silly. It's one of her dad's goons, probably.
It could be a dad goon, and that's really
because
really
Liam
boring.
got accosted by a Brody goon.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, can we not have goons being dispatched from various criminals in prison? Everyone's got a bunch of bloody goons on the outside.
There's not going to be many people that are going to know Lauren's number. I suggested to you the other day that it could be like Shona, maybe. Just kind of doing it for a laugh, for how things ended up between her and Max. Or could it be Hope? because she's going
It's a
around
prank.
taking... It could just be a prank, couldn't it? It literally could be.
That would actually please me.
Well, there we go. I
just
wouldn't mind that either.
I can't really see a scenario where we get told who Lauren's mystery... Because we've added mystery tech caller. Now she's got a mystery texter.
If it's someone random, if it's a goon, that's going to be a huge,
But I'm just saying,
letdown.
I can't see a scenario where I'm going to go anything but... Huh.
I know. Well, we'll have to see, won't we? Whoever it is, they've got very good photography skills, because later on she gets a message of a very... I think it's Danielle Bagley that's the stalker here, the Coronation Street photographer, because this was a promo picture that Lauren got sent.
It's like
the lighting was just superb in that picture that she got. That was no candid snap, was it?
The texter was like, "I've cut this out of soap mag. Look at it. It's you." Don't ask whose perspective this photo was taken from, because it's literally impossible that somebody took this photo.
It kind of is,
in the
isn't
reality
it?
of the show, because you would have seen them.
You would have seen them.
You would have seen them from that angle. What are you saying?
They got a very,
Unless
very
they were
good
sitting
zoom.
on the roof of the precinct with a sniper rifle.
No, this was this was taken in the road. This is just as they were leaving.
All right, then on the top of the road.
It was in Rosamond Street. Yeah, I don't know. But the mystery doesn't go anywhere else in the week, does it? Yeah, it's supposed to be a slow burner, and I don't
No,
believe...
I mean the photo. Like, have we got any press?
Oh, well, that's just how they always
do.
I
know, but it's still lazy. They go to great lengths to do some things, and then other things they're like, oh, just... that one will do. Really? It's like when somebody's, like, got a headshot, like, of the welcome to the show so-and-so character, and they use it for something else. It's like, that's the promotional picture of the actor. It's not even the character.
I know. They should have, at least it's not an awful hand-drawn mugshot like with Emma
Oh my
back
God.
in the day. Like, I've drawn a picture of you stealing Tracy's van. Sorry, you don't really
And then
look
it's like
this.
a little arrow going, you.
Um,
It might be Betsy at this point.
It can't be Betsy. She
Why?
was literally there. She was in the car next to her when it happened.
I know, but I don't think this photo's a red herring, because it's obviously by the press team.
No, I just don't think anybody... There aren't many
Betsy
people who care enough about Lauren to be
and
doing
she could
that.
have another goon. There's going to be a goon involved.
The other reason why people thought it was Bobby potentially is because his advice to Lauren is to do nothing and just ignore them. Which you would say if you were the one behind them,
I'm trying to
you?
do that, Bobby. I'm trying to ignore the things that bother me, but they keep turning back up again.
Anyway, meanwhile, over at Shea Swala, things aren't looking particularly hunky-dory for them. Because Carla is getting somewhat peed off that Lisa isn't being harder on Betsy.
This would be so hard.
I kind of am on Team Carla on this as well. I get that Lisa, between her, like, she's got a very tenuous relationship with her daughter, and it's at risk of snapping at any moment. But
Carla
I'd also
knows Betsy as a kind of young, like a young adult. She's not really an adult, but it's
because the actress is in her early 20s. It's very confusing.
Lisa looks at Betsy and sees her precious baby, who needs protection and love. And Carla looks at her and just sees this oik who
and honestly,
is malingering.
Carla probably looks at her and thinks, when I was her age, I flipping had responsibility for myself. And any mistakes that I made, I had to own them. I didn't need anyone to mother me.
Yeah, like I raised myself. Yeah. And I don't feel like it was a bad thing. Yeah. She needs a bit of tough love.
Yeah. Well, I lose track of things. Was Carla's mum the one that got hit by the car when Johnny wasn't looking because he had a bit of MS? I can't remember the Donovan family history there.
Well, Lisa's like, look, you got to support me on this, please. This is so awkward. This is such an awkward situation.
Carla got into this relationship not for the baggage of children, did she?
No, and
she just wanted some hot between the sheets action.
Really
with local
hard
copper.
To kind of draw a line between. I'm supposed to care about you as a child, but I can't parent you. But I can see that clearly a solution to this problem.
Yeah.
That I'm not being allowed to implement because it might upset you.
Yeah. Betsy is having a bit of a cry on the sofa later because she doesn't think that Carla likes her. And she even says, I don't think I'd want her as me mum.
No, hang on. This is her, I think, manipulating Lisa a little bit.
Was it?
I think she says this to get under Lisa's skin about Carla because she knows she knows saying to Lisa, I don't think Carla likes me, is going to really bother Lisa. Because Lisa, no one likes to hear that about a child saying that about an adult when you're a parent.
No.
Right? That would set me off. If my child came to me and went, this adult doesn't like me, I would get really upset with that adult, right? Because this is a child, you know, why you shouldn't even have a relationship where a child suspects that you don't like them.
No.
Right? So, and then she's like saying, I don't want her as my mum. Like, that's setting up in Lisa's mind a kind of comparison between
Becky
and Carla.
Yeah.
She's trying to put a wedge between them because Betsy doesn't really like Carla. I don't think.
No.
Because she's being a bit of a brat, honestly. She's being a bit she just wants her mum to herself. She doesn't like the way Carla can see right through her.
Yeah, I think you're right. Carla, Lisa. I don't think she's blind to Betsy's faults, but she will turn a blind eye to them.
Betsy acts like more of a baby around Lisa than she does around anybody else.
Yeah, you can't pull the wool over Carla's eyes. Carla has had many years of girls trying to pull a fast one on her at the factory, so that's not going to work.
So you're not the last, and you're not the first.
I'm sure. Lisa has as well. She works with criminals.
But she's got blinkers on for Betsy.
Yeah, but anyway,
that's her baby.
Yeah. They end up having a nice Bridget Jones night together, don't they, Lisa and Betsy? And while Lisa's up trying to raid Carla's secret chocolate stash in the kitchen, Betsy has a bit of a moment. Her hand starts to move. Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
She's cured, it's a miracle.
Do you know who else could have a secret chocolate stash?
Who?
Lisa in her own bloody house. Where's her cat?
Bring it up. Lisa and Betsy's house is the new Coronation Street cast photo, isn't it? He's going to keep asking.
Where is it?
You're going to demand
What's
until
happened?
you've seen it. Yeah. Literally, the cat would be the saddest thing. It's not making me feel good about them that they've shown no thought. If I had to be separated from precious Abby for all this time,
you'd just be like, when can Abby be? When can we see Abby again? I wouldn't. Yeah, it's not good. They don't care about this cat.
Right, Wednesday then. So Betsy is keeping this moving hand thing quiet because she thinks that
We said that her hand would be fine.
Yeah, there was never any worry about her hand. Lisa, she's not told her about the arm. She seems to be enjoying her time with her mum, and she likes being waited on hands and foot. And it's not just that; it's the family time and the bonding time. I think she does appreciate.
But it's really
having
nice
a better relationship with her mum now, because it's obviously things have been very fraught in recent years.
Well, yeah, because when we first got introduced to them both, Lisa Betsy was still mourning her other, her mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had a little yawn there. So later, Lisa tries to convince Carla to come over and mind Betsy. And she can tell Carla's not really keen on it, but Carla doesn't have much of a choice. So she's there at the flat waiting on Betsy hand and foot, getting mighty sick of it. And Betsy, sorry, you brought this on yourself. Carla passes you a giant pepper grinder and you fall right into her trap. Seriously. I thought it was a good choice of implement to give it away because it had to be a proper two-handed thing.
Yeah.
And she's just like happily grinding away and Carla's like, what are you doing? I've caught you out, lady. And Betsy stands up in shock, knocks a tray all over onto Carla's, what do you call it? Her shag, her thick shag. And Betsy ends up storming into her room because she realised she's been rumbled. And it's probably just out of pure embarrassment because that is... Come on, if you're going to try and fake your hand not working... Don't fall for that.
Lisa has walked in on this.
Yes.
And Betsy,
she does.
As Betsy storms off, Carla reminded me of a little kid on the playground because she's pointing at Betsy as she walks off, going, "She's faking it. Her arm's fine." And Lisa's like, "What's happening?"
Yeah. Lisa gets mad. Carla tries to call her later. I think she's in the Rovers, maybe, I don't remember, leaving a message and saying, "Look, can you come round? I don't want to walk into an argument between you and your daughter." So Betsy, they're not arguing. They're saying, "Look, I'd stay quiet about my arm because I liked having you around, Mum. I've had a really tough time the last few years. I wish I could be more like you, but I can't. I'm sorry." But they make up, don't they? It's fine.
Well, she's like, "Yeah, I'm still got PTSD. Like when the door goes, I've got all
the phone rings. I think it's going to be
out.
Rob Donovan again on the run. Carla eventually comes home anyway, and Lisa says, look, me and Betsy have cleared the air here. Carla is not impressed. She's like, are there no consequences? Is she getting away with faking having an injury? I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? The injury wasn't faked, and she literally just went, 12 hours maybe, keeping it to herself.
Yeah.
And it was her fault for walking past the police line. Friday comes along.
Police line?
Yeah, when she got her arm blown off. That's what happened, didn't it? She
What
walked past the
happened?
police tape during the hostage situation.
Oh yeah, she got
supposedly.
shot.
Yeah. We've forgotten about it already. Not much happens
I just got confused about the car crash. I was like, she was in a car crash.
That's not what she
But
got.
no, she was in the car crash because she got shot.
Yes. Tracy is the main focus of this story on Friday. Basically, she marches around the flat later saying that the insurers aren't paying out because she left the keys in the ignition. And sorry, that's probably very true to life, but like you were saying to me earlier when we were watching it, that's a little on the unfair side.
Well, how are you supposed to load your van outside your business?
I mean, you could take the keys out. You could.
But it makes it sound like you can just... If somebody leaves their keys in the car, then it's fine to steal it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I suppose it's not, and Lauren is still being prosecuted for it, isn't she? But I suppose it's just part of the insurer's clauses, and that's how they get you.
You can't just let the burglars in your house and then tell us to replace the stuff they stole. That's fair.
Tracy wants Lisa to pay for the damage, and Swain's like, no, you got no proof that it was my daughter. Sorry, on your bite, love. I'm not doing anything here. I think that I thought that Betsy was supposed to be rolling in it. Has she got this £50,000, or did she give it to Carla? I don't remember.
She lent it to Carla, and that's why Carla wants to hurry the pub.
Oh right, okay.
But it's not. I'm sick and tired of these children on Coronation Street having these vast sums of money.
It's not fair.
Bertie's got a massive inheritance.
Yeah.
Betsy's got a massive inheritance.
Yeah. Where's ours?
Amy has.
Yeah. Anyway, it's because they've all got dead parents, isn't it? That's the
Hasn't the government done something now where children who are now becoming adults, they all had a trust fund made by the government. It's only like a few £1,000s or something, but when I was a kid, I didn't get anything.
No. You had to drag yourself up, didn't you?
I taught
your own money
myself
to
to
put in your
read
NatWest piggy bank
to see that I owed the government a load of money.
Right, so do you think that Lisa's being too lenient here?
I do.
Feels like she is a little
indulgent.
bit. I do feel for Carla.
I think part of it is because she's finally getting some attention and love off of Betsy. Like Betsy's not really needed her for a long time, and now she's enjoying being an important part of her daughter's life, and it's difficult for her to kind of like take that relationship and jeopardize it with threatening her or telling her off.
I suppose if you're somebody like Carla...
Also, she's probably guilty that she shot her in the arm.
I suppose if you're somebody like Carla and you get into a relationship with someone for a kid, you've got to accept that...
Of course.
You're never going to be completely number one.
Well, no. But when you're when it's your share a child, you don't really care because you both love the child equally. But when
this is not the case.
Oh my goodness me.
Yeah. Anyway, that was all right this week. I did enjoy the little bit where Carla and Lisa are having sexy talk on the phone while we see from Lisa's point of view, and then Betsy's there on the sofa, isn't she? She kind of catches them at it, which is kind of fun. Or was it Carla that was
probably
there?
Betsy's jealous
Betsy
too of the attention that Lisa's given to Carla.
Yeah, quite possibly. Okay, the Julie story.
Poor Julie, the Tiny Tim of Coronation Street.
It's just going to be the same every week, isn't it? Like
her being adorably sick.
Yeah, cheekily sick as well. I can cope with this kind of sick. It's going to be tragic when her time comes.
I just don't like it. I don't need this.
These are the scenes that of course I love Christina and the Rovers, and there was loads of other really really great stuff, but every scene with Brian and Julian was just magically wonderfully sweet and gorgeous.
The thing is about it too is that it's going to be the perfect relationship because there's not enough time for anything else.
No. It's definitely got a feel of Seven Nina here, hasn't it?
Yeah.
and Corrie know that they can do that well.
Yeah. Cancer's going to kick her to death.
I think probably my favourite bit of this week was when he's helping her out of her wheelchair today and they end up doing a little dance.
I know, and she's like, she's indulging him as well because she's in pain.
Yeah.
But she's like, I don't mind as long as I'm with my Brian.
Yeah. This story has just been so good for Brian, and
yeah,
it just shows how brilliant Peter Gunn is and can be when they give him the right material, but so much they don't. Like, he is absolutely captivating when they give him something that's not just being silly or boring, you know?
Planting broad beans.
Yeah. Or being a buffoon. He's not a buffoon in this story. He's brilliant. He wasn't a buffoon when he helped Abby with her witness statement. He was brilliant.
That was great.
He's so good. He's such a talent, and I just know that once this story's over, they're either going to put him back in the stock cupboard again and not use him, or they'll have him, being sidled up to by Mary, who I'm going to say, I'm very glad has nothing to do with this storyline. She would ruin this.
Would you like it if she died of cancer?
No, saying nothing. But Mary, what would Mary add to this? She'd be there kind of glaring, and then that would just make her look bad because she'd be being jealous of a dying woman.
Yeah.
Or she'd be there just like getting in the way, maybe. So I'm saying at the moment, fair play to Mary for having the good grace to keep her distance.
But just like with Brian, what they're doing with him now, they could definitely do the same with rehabilitating Mary.
Yeah, they could.
Nobody's beyond help, Michael.
Not even Mary. Are you still love Mary?
Well, listen, I do feel like the Mary slander gets out of hand when you're involved on this show.
I know, sorry.
But okay. Right, shall I tell you what happened?
Yes. What happened? Well, I know what happened. Let's whiz it. Let's go on.
Oh, all right.
There wasn't a whole lot, was there?
I can't whiz it. Well,
it's mostly about George and
Eileen. Like, George being a stick in the mud about the bingo stuff. And she gets fed up with him, and then she goes into the kitchen and slips on the salad dressing that he had made for Julie. And he helps her get, she has to go to the hospital. And Julie's upset because she can't even make food for herself. And George says we need to start putting some adaptations for Julie in the house, which ends up being a wheelchair on Friday, which is kind of doesn't feel like an adaptation for the house so much as something you can't really use that well in a house. Yeah,
at least the McDonald's house had like the bar outside, didn't it?
If you put a bar anywhere, Ronnie's going to come and start doing pull-ups on it, so there's no point. On Wednesday.
Even if it's vertical bar, he'd be doing
do it sideways with one arm.
90 degrees.
Look at this is how you get your lats. On Wednesday, it's bingo.
Bingo. What do they call it? Was it bingo?
Bingo, bango, rama, or bongo rama. So Julie is overwhelmed and sees Christina, and she's like,
"Oh yeah, this is
I'm going to miss this life.
This is when she hears
this is cruel.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I should have done more." And Eileen's listening in on this because this isn't really for Christina because Christina doesn't. I was watching
Christina
this
doesn't even know who Julie is.
Is she going to have the change of heart here and decide not to scam her daughter? No, obviously just made her want to scam her more. It's for Eileen's benefit.
Nicely performed scene. Or she uses the word bloody twice in one scene.
That's cancer. How you.
Yeah, it was bloody cancer.
So Eileen, after bingo, tells Julie that she heard her talking, and Julie says that, look, I don't want to talk about it because it was very negative. And I guess she didn't feel like she can vent to her family as much as a stranger.
Yeah. They just have Eileen kind of says to her that I'm here for you when you need it, and they have a nice head on the shoulder scene. That's what I love. I love the bits like that. Those two together are just lovely.
Well, Brian and Julie are watching the videos of all the drama in the bingo, and Eileen is just content to hear her laugh and be happy. So Friday, this is when Julie's wheelchair comes in, and she spends the whole episode going, ow.
Yeah, it feels like she's getting more regular owls, isn't it? Yeah.
They also milk they get the sympathy card out in the Rovers, and they conspire to get Jenny to give them free drinks, which works perfectly.
Yeah.
And Julie tries to get George to invite Eileen out to dinner, like do something spontaneous, do something fun, just for the heck of it. And he's like, no, it's not our anniversary. Why would I? What if she said something?
Well, he doesn't say it like that. It's more like he's like no.
What's the point of that?
He's not grumpy about it. It's more like he seriously doesn't comprehend why you would take someone out. But I don't really get that, because I think it's a tradition in the street to go out for a special meal at the bistro or speed dial.
At least once a week.
I was going to say fortnight, but maybe it is weekly.
So he's like, what has Eileen said? And she's like, no, there's nothing wrong with just trundling along. So when Eileen comes home, George is sulking, and he tells her that Julie's kind of said something to him, and she says, no, you know, I love you, nothing's changed. And she's like, you know, we're fine. So,
and I think for Eileen, that just kind of is how she is.
I don't think it's fair, really, of Julie to put these ideas into...
Not everybody is as romantic as everybody else.
Julie has always been a very whimsical and romantic person, and from the outside, it looks like an intoxicating life to lead, right? But not everybody is like that, like you said.
No, she
and
wasn't
not every
hanging
relationship.
off like Pat, dripping off him and googly eyes was he? They were just like really solid, good mates. And
I get the impression this is not how this is going to end. But I do feel as though in real life, in 5 years' time, Eileen will be single, looking back on her relationship with George, going, I didn't realise how good I had it.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone to love you and make you a cup of tea is kind
Take
of...
the bins out, don't forget that one.
It's being taken for granted, really. But equally, it shouldn't be possible for somebody to put that much doubt on your relationship. If you've got a relationship that is solid enough, and you love each other, there's no way someone could come up to me and be like, oh, do you go out for dinner in the middle of the week for no reason? No. Well, do you think your husband really loves you? Yeah.
Tell you what, the way that you know that Gemma and I are still having a passionate and important relationship, a serious relationship, is we went to IKEA for dinner last night, and we had 8
meatballs
for
£3.
Meatballs for £3 was our dinner last night, and that was the romantic highlight of the month.
No, it wasn't last night. It was the night before, because yesterday and today and tomorrow until the 5th, it's £1 meatballs, and I didn't know that.
No.
We only went there because it was £3, and then the next day it was £1.
If you like some Swedish meatballs from IKEA, get yourself there over the next week.
See, this is how you know it's true love, Michael, because I don't regret that meal, even though it cost me £2 more than it really should have done. Because it was with you.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. We had a lovely view over a car park, didn't we? Yeah.
Bloody kid running up and down shouting. Anyway, so you wanted to rush through this, didn't you?
If George and Eileen stop having their IKEA meatballs, that's when you know the romance is dead.
You might as well just die. So Julie and Brian get home, and this is when, you know, they're having the nice hug and dancing, and Eileen tells Julie off a bit for interfering, and Julie says, no, George isn't for you. And they apologise to each other later, and they arrange a trip on Monday for Julie to die at the lake. I assume that's what's going to happen.
Well, it would have to wait.
It's just going to be the pair of them, isn't it? And they're going to go and have this day out they've been talking about.
Yeah.
She better live long enough to spend the money that they raised at the bingo bango.
I hope she lives long enough to make the location shoot worthwhile, because they don't come cheap, are they?
Are they actually going to go?
I'm saying nothing.
Have you seen a picture of her beautiful... Is she like Ophelia?
She's
floating in the
down
water?
the river. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Julie's the best. I do... I do kind of wish that Julie would keep those opinions to herself.
She's doing it with the best of intentions.
She is doing it with the best of intentions. But if you think, you know, like you say, if Eileen's going to look back, if she's going to dump George on Julie's advice and then look back 5 years and say, I lost something really special then part of the memory of your sister is going to be tainted by the fact that what she made me now the sad singleton that I am.
Yeah, and then you've got, you know, Eileen's holding a grudge against George for saying some out-of-pocket things about Julie, but Julie's sort of saying similar things about George, really.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, we'll see. Finally, we got
dead soon enough.
Finally, we got the Mickey and the Bricky story, and Gary returned triumphantly to Coronation Street this week.
Only to get drunk and buy a builder's yard.
Literally, the story is he wants to buy the builder's yard. Maria says, "You're not buying the builder's yard, though, are you, love?" And he's like, "No, I'm buying the builder's yard." I think Maria and Gary as a couple, they're not one of Corrie's greats, but I do like that little relationship that they've got.
I
there.
find I'm it's growing on me all the time.
Yeah, I was
kind
of
them work
surprised
together,
about it. Yeah,
you know, because we watch them film together. They work together really well.
they do. Those two work
They're
together
really
really, really well. Yeah, and Mick gets involved in this horrible Mick, and he manages to talk Gary into. Well, they get drunk together on Monday night, don't they? And Gary's Wednesday night. Sorry, it was, wasn't it? And he's basically saying, "I'm sick of selling furniture now. I'm gonna buy this builder's yard, whether you like it or not, Maria." And
Mick's goading him on.
Mick's goading him onto it, and by the end of the episode, Gary's revealed to have employed Mick, which I think he's probably going to live to regret, because Mick's a massive wrong-un.
But he saved Liam.
He saves Liam on Friday. Maria has a bit of a change of heart there, because I loved how unimpressed she was when he's opening the builder's yard on Friday. Yeah. Just like, I don't need this.
Honestly, Gary belongs in the builder's yard more than he belongs in the viaduct selling tat.
Yeah, exactly. Second-hand furniture salesman for Gary.
Because I always thought that was a front for money laundering. And then he stopped money laundering, but he kept up the front.
Does Fizz still work there, or does she stop?
No. I don't know. It's so baffling.
I just imagine him sitting there day after day alone.
Who goes
thinking,
there?
Oh,
for
you're my
anything?
first customer of the month, and it's the 31st.
Can you imagine, like, going to the corner shop and coming out and going the wrong way and getting accosted by this man in a cave?
Yeah.
Going, would you like to buy a mirror? Yeah, it doesn't work.
We've not seen in it for a long time.
It doesn't show your reflection.
It is about time that somebody
did
something at the builder's yard, because it has felt odd not to have the builder's yard in action.
The builder's yard is a set that is on location, isn't it? It's all there. It's all in there.
Yeah, they film in there.
So that is a good play, because I think they're running out of room in the indoor sets. I think there's a limit to how much space they've got, because they've got all these bloody hospitals everywhere. So I think that having the builder's yard is good, because it's going to be somewhere that isn't the bistro and speed dial
and the precinct
and the hospital,
where they can go and do a bit of filming outside.
Talk.
Yeah. But if they're not going to show us the cabin, at least they can have that. But and it feels right for Gary to be there, back where he always was. But is Mick going to be there? Well, not if Maria's got anything to do with it. But like you said, drama for Liam at the precinct later when he gets his phone snatched.
Why does Maria hate Mick so much?
Because he's horrible.
But what does she know about him?
I don't know. Has he had anything to do with her yet? I can't remember. I kind of lose track.
He came on to Daisy in a creepy rapist way.
Yeah, and he's been horrible to Gemma, obviously, recently. Can't remember.
I don't think she's got any particular reason other than bad vibes.
Well, Lou is working at the salon now, isn't she? Where Maria is also working.
So They've never had a scene together, have they?
I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting something that happened last week. Who knows?
Well, it's very possible.
Yeah. Anyway, so Liam gets his phone snatched. Mick just so happens to be there very handily.
Oh, Mick just so happens to know that.
And just so happens to know. Small world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're Brody's mates. And his intimidation tactics do the trick. They give him his phone back in the £2.50 or whatever they snatched off of him. And now Mick's the hero of the day. And that's basically it. He's going to be going into business. Well, no, he's going to be working for Gary at the builder's yard.
That's not everything.
What else was there?
He then gives Liam...
Oh, yes, he did, didn't he?
A little tot of rum or whatever.
I don't know what it was. He has a shot of something at the bar. Yeah, he ingratiates himself towards Maria, not only by saving Liam, but by saying, oh, what a great kid he is. And then takes him to the bar and gives him a bit of a shot. So it feels like just the way that Liam reacted there is he's going to get hooked. He's going to get hooked on alcohol now, isn't he?
Bad stomach.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I thought it was just that booze is gross. I've never had it before.
Liam, you're such a square.
He's like me. I think that he's not like me. I would not be.
You would never.
I would not be coerced into drinking.
You've literally never tasted.
I have so tasted alcohol before, just very, very little.
Oh, boasting now.
And a long time ago.
When was that?
Ages ago. Ages and ages ago. What? You give me a funny look. You were there.
When was it?
It's university.
I don't remember it at all.
Well, it's...
I was obviously drunk.
Etched on my mind. I think that Liam's going to get a bit of a taste for it now or something, and if it is, I'm not necessarily relishing that. But
God.
we'll see, won't we? We'll see. I'm sure there's more misery ahead.
I just really loved Liam being a moody little teen, sitting in the precinct, and like moodily putting down his milkshake. It's like, yeah, attitude. My milkshake.
Oh, this is the worst news this week. The government's going to put the sugar tax on milkshakes. They're my booze of choice. Thing. Milkshakes are my alcohol. and soon, and frappuccinos. New tiramisu frappuccino, had that last weekend, very nice, and now they're going to be more expensive.
And you're not getting a pay rise because the government's taking away.
No, we are getting a bit of a pay rise. It's just not funded by the government.
So am I getting a pay rise, but it's not funded either. I'm getting £1 million a week, but nobody's actually going to fund it.
When do our premium bonds? What's the date? Has it happened? Oh, I'll tell you. You can tell me about the millions we've won there later.
It's not worth it. It's not worth talking about.
Damn. Okay, that was this week's Coronation Street, and I thought it was an alright week. I really did enjoy. I have enjoyed all of Daisy's exit storyline, just because it's been simple, non-hospital, non-police station for the most part. Soapy drama, double-crossy characters that I adore. A character who I pretty much liked before in Christina, but just absolutely adore now. It's been a load of fun. We've had the Debbie story on Monday was just brilliant. Sue Cleaver's performance, out of this world. I loved it, even though, like we said, some of the bits were a bit on the nose. Wasn't too fussed about Laura and Betsy. Julie and Brian are amazing together. I'm gonna say I'm feeling like it's maybe a 4. I think I might go 4. Yeah, I am going to give this 4. And did you? I don't want to. I'm going to give it 4 condescending pseudo-intellectuals out of 5. Character of the week, Daisy, because it's my last time to do so.
Oh.
What about you? What are you scoring?
I think I'm going to give it 4 as well. 4 perky yayas.
I thought you were going to give it 4 little farts in the bath.
I've already said that twice.
Oh, I'd stop myself from saying that. Oh well,
we can give
condescending to you intellectuals.
Give it 4 little perky yaya farts in the bath.
Who is your character of the week?
Daisy
as well, of course.
God bless her. I didn't like the styling of the exit, but it was a very good. It was a really triumphant exit for her, and
it wasn't sure. A back of a taxi exit. There were so many exits. It was, but it wasn't. A back of the taxi exit for me and Corrie is literally they get into a taxi and they wave as they go. But it wasn't. It was something else. It was just that little bit extra that made it more memorable than so many others. I think that was going to stick.
It felt like the end of a chapter. Sometimes the exits feel like the character's leaving. Bye.
Yeah. You got
with Beth. It's like, well, Beth's going because the actress is going, so that's why she's going, and that no more questions.
And you're right. This felt like it was a natural progression on from something that's happened a while ago. Yeah, it was. I was thinking the other day what Tim did drive her. Yeah, like when you leave a soap, you're either going to die of some horrible disease, or you're going to get killed. Or you're going to leave triumphantly, or you're going to slip away, and there's not much else around that, is there?
There's not much else you can do.
And you can't kill people off all the time.
No.
So today's really did stand out as a triumphant exit, because so often it's just get into a taxi and slip away.
Like being a little quiet fart in the bath.
Yeah, exactly. She was a loud, triumphant trump in the bath.
She was
Daisy.
bubbling all over the place.
She was. and I think that goes to show how much Corrie appreciated having her, and knowing that she was a big character, and knowing that she that Charlotte Jordan helped carry the show through some years.
She's been great with Jenny. Daisy and Jenny,
really brilliant double act,
were fantastic, and I couldn't imagine Daisy without Jenny.
No,
I think it's fair to say that Jenny is a big character. And I think that she's had lots of great partnerships over the years. I don't know what the future holds for.
I love Daisy. I love Jenny and Johnny.
Yeah.
But I certainly did become a Daisy convert, as you know.
And I think that like you say, Charlotte Jordan. It's such a shame that she didn't stay. I wish her all the best of luck. I hope that she does great things. I don't think I know she will, but it's sad to have lost someone really talented and half of a double act that meant a lot to us, because we like both his characters, and the actresses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is a sad day. Like I said earlier, when I knew that she was leaving, I was like, well, that's the character's dead to me now.
Yeah, we've had lots of characters
unless I think they're gonna die. I think I only really get invested if they're gonna die. That's stupid, isn't it? But even with Julie though, I'm like, well, you're not gonna make me cry. Don't even try.
You wait and see.
No,
I
refuse.
Let everyone know.
I refuse. I'm gonna freeze my face. I'm gonna get Botox in my tear ducts. Can you do that?
No. Right. I think that's
Right.
enough for street talk.